My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. See thepatternofconduct.wordpress.com. All right, 8WZN698, 33516J3, 8FTW810. These are all demons touching with directed light. 6BOL567. And this one up here, 78802G3. And 7ZND144. This is at Ria Money Transfer. I've already shown you this scene before. They were molesting with directed light in the afternoon last Sunday, right beside the United States Postal Service building. These demons in the morning at 9:18 a.m. And again, we've just had the time change, so it's actually 8:18 a.m. and the state's fake sun is over me, and they're molesting with directed light. This is P.O.C. license 6BOL567, 8WZN698. This is the perpetual sex offender. All right, and that's the demon possessed, engaging in molesting with and terrorizing with directed light. And like I stated, the one that wants to run for city council, Valencia, this is where his venue is located at 109 Hope Boulevard, where this directed light is ongoing. He is not an exception. This office is not an exception. Those that are working at his office are not an exception. Criminal activity is underway. Not only that, not only is it criminal, it's demonic. And he is running for city council. This venue's location is 109 Hope Boulevard, where the fake sun, all right, that is the ongoing hallmark for what is the presence of Satan itself, while this minion going by the name of Valencia, Team Valencia headquarters at 109 Hope Boulevard. Let me be clear. That is a minion who is unfit for a government office. He's unfit and he is a criminal. Let me be clear. Criminal activity is ongoing, and it's ongoing right now. Okay, and it has been. I've been documenting this venue for a prolonged period while the state keeps a fake sun over me. And demons such as 75358H1 are molesting, while, let me be clear, just like every other venue such as 358 Euclid Avenue in Upland, California, and attorney Ricardo Perez, they are the people of the state. The people of the state running for offices in government such as city council, when they are minions engaging in state surveillance with the government and wanting to be in office. I just want to document that. That's where I'm at, and that's where that criminal conduct and that perpetual sex offender is molesting. 6 PSH 419. It is currently 9:19 a.m. on Sunday, March 13, 2022. And again, daylight savings times begins, so it's an hour earlier, 8WNN114. Omnitrans terrorizing with directed light as well. You already know about those demons, just documenting it. License CB75D71. They do so while they are driving by as I'm walking on Hope Boulevard. And that is the eastbound 61 route. Terrorizing with directed light. 58127Y1, 5BOL893. Driving right by this Valencia's office. I want to make sure I highlight that. That's a criminal. All right, and that is not just any ordinary criminal, and that is not an opinion, that is not an unsubstantiated statement. The pattern of conduct is underway. The fake sun is directly over me, as you see. Last Sunday, that's where I'm standing by his office under the fake sun at 12:50 p.m. or 12:34. It's after the 12 o'clock hour, and I will take a picture of that right now. This is not the light source that's over me while I'm standing in front of his office, and it is also not any explanation for what is the ongoing pattern of conduct of demonic, demon-possessed actors that are molesting and terrorizing with directed light while they're engaged in surveillance right here where his office is located. It's 9:21 a.m. License 8YVX044. And the demon-possessed engage in voting for the demon-possessed and putting them in government offices, by the way. 8PHN870. They're called the people of the state. How you're understanding another way the system operates. License plate 49693B3. And I did capture a picture of what is the fake sun. And so you're calling, understand, I am incorporating based on the nature of what I am documenting. that which is not the actual sun. So I am including in what is relevant, the time change, daylight savings time, in the state of California, where they are engaging in keeping a fake sun over people who where a light source is maintaining a fake sun, as I have referred to it, because that's exactly what it is, and it is operating outside of these ordinary rules and circumstances that surround what is that which we have understood to be the actual sun. It has nothing to do with daylight savings time, time of day, the ongoing orbit and movement of the light source, as I've shown. So license plate 7S87110, license 8228655, 7HKP169, I believe, or 149, excuse me, and directed light moving across this venue of Ape Arena Fitness, at Hope Boulevard, and that's adjacent to Lapita's Furniture, and across from what is Sam's Liquor, where the fake sun is over me as I'm walking down, again this morning, walking west on Hope Boulevard, as opposed to remaining at the Ontario Town Square. Okay, so recall this ongoing documentation, and then February 27th, as I remain in Ontario, license 5PZK 821. As I remain in Ontario, I walk down east on Hope Boulevard, 46499H2, 8K77902, perpetual sex offenders, 8NGL 374. The perpetual sex offender is a demon-possessed stalker who is doing so on behalf of the government. It is a very specific title, and where that ongoing sex offense is underway, it is speaking to what is an expansive system, and there is no venue that is an exception to that system that's underway by the state and the people of the state. That is directly speaking to the headquarters for Valencia, who is running for office in the city of Ontario, where demonic criminal and surveillance by the state is underway. The state stalking by helicopter, the state keeping a fake sun literally over that intersection all hours of the day. Okay, where that office is for Valencia. I want to be clear, Valencia's headquarters and all those minions that are working at that headquarters are engaged in state surveillance, engaging in criminal activity, while they are trying to persuade, who are none other than the demon-possessed, to vote for him for office. License 4VME620, I believe, 2746OC3. That's a minion. All right, and I want to highlight that because that's exactly what I documented. That's exactly what's included in my documentation. But it is not different from those who are in government that I've already documented. That's exactly what's going on at the Oakland City Hall, at the Ontario City Hall. That's with regard to what are minions that I have already documented engaging in the P.O.C. 8WIH 109. The Hope Boulevard car wash monitoring. While demons are here, you hear them in traffic, they're monitoring and directed light moving across the building. 8UVK 886. 7KSX 483. And it is currently 9:24. And going onto the property of this venue in relevant position, 6RDL 980. Driving in circles in engineered light in the parking lot. License 8BHH 450. There we go. License plate 7KKJ 222 450 26X1. Directed light at the car wash 8SJD 437. Officer Murtek, documented on video. You're looking at what is, first of all, let me be clear, I'm identifying what is a person within that demon-possessed population. This is a demon that I'm encountering, and also a demon that's engaging in criminal conduct, which is what is directly relevant. With regard to law enforcement, it's relevant that they're demon-possessed, and it's also relevant that they're engaged in interstate stalking. And the P.O.C. that I'm documenting when I am showing you the people of the state stalking in the path under the fake light, under the fake sun in directed light, is directly is directly related to the presence of Ontario Police. The pattern of conduct does not stop. They are engaged in the same exact P.O.C. They are stalking as well. They are the same demon-possessed population. All right, and so you're understanding what is also you're looking at, regardless of daylight savings time, which is merely setting the clocks forward an hour. All right, and you're still remembering what is my documentation, as I'm very specific to where I'm at, so you can reference this with regard to the current time as it's around 9:25 when I captured that video. But 8:25, where am I at? All right, so you're talking about what is, again, all I'm doing is showing you what is not possibly the sun, which you can clearly see, regardless of what time change. Regardless of any reference to daylight savings time, the fake sun remains on this street where I remain all day long. Okay, the light source documented maintaining presence over my head all day long. Directed light is, again, in no way whatsoever an explanation or relevant to what is the maintenance of a light source all remaining over me, regardless of daylight savings time or anything. I'm referencing that because I'm documenting that which is not the sun that is directly over my head, while Officer Murtaugh, ATL P.O.99, is stalking with third parties just like that one, terrorizing and molesting with directed light. They act as one entity. Going to the car wash is a facilitating venue where you are monitoring with the car wash. It's a venue. Fake sun's right over my head, just like I showed you. 8:25 in the morning, I am already at the Upland Public Library, for example. 8:21, that's where I've captured video. I remain at the Ontario Museum. Where I am at the museum, 225 South Good Avenue, I'm facing east. I am not facing west, where I would have to face my camera and my person in order to show the light source if it's directly over the whole Boulevard car wash. It's not, all right? And you're talking about what is an hour that we set our clocks ahead. So I'm just reminding you about with regard to it is currently daylight savings time. My documentation remains relevant prior to daylight savings time, but I also have more than 1 year of documentation. This is ongoing consistent documentation of showing what is stalking with an environment and showing what is the grounds of federal prison for the demon-possessed population that are in the position of law enforcement engaging in terrorism and stalking, and doing so in plain sight, as now that impossibility, the input of literally the inclusion of what is the supernatural. It's a demonic system, and that's how they're doing it. All right, and so you have what is that evidence that's surrounding Officer Murtaugh. He's not, or Murtaugh, however you pronounce his name. I documented it on video. He's a minion, okay? This is a demon, and he is wearing a uniform, okay? And he is supposed to be engaging in what is the most noble conduct. This is a criminal, and a despicable one, okay? And he serves Satan, all right? He's literally on his knees at the teat of the devil itself, engaging in criminal conduct, which he thinks he can engage in plain sight, and nobody would know. That's not the case anymore. That is grounds of federal prison. That's exactly what I documented. That's exactly what's going to happen. That is an impermissible threat. That is not different than sitting at what is the farmer's market, waging a threat. This is the same agency engaging in repeated acts of kidnapping, and then engaging in what is demonic stalking conduct, doing so under the fake sun, which, by the way, last Sunday remained stationary over the Ontario Town Square. Daylight savings time or not. Remember what time I got there. So you're talking about what I remained there at this time, nowhere facing the direction of the whole Boulevard car wash. It's not coexisting. It's not remaining central over my head at both locations at the same time. And you also know that the actual sun, like I said, that having nothing to do with the daylight savings time, I'm referencing it because this is not the sun. Any way that you want to address it. All right, every form of analysis, okay, everything that you can, every circumstance you can apply, this is not the sun. The light source remains over the Ontario Town Square all day long. All day long. And I don't come to the Ontario Village Shopping Center until the afternoon, 12 o'clock. So under daylight savings time, that would have been 1 p.m., right? Well, we're here at 9. Right now, it's 9:32 a.m. and the fake sun is right over me, continuing to remain over my head, just as it was while Officer Murtaugh is group stalking, crossing path, engaging in a criminal act. That's what group stalking is, and it is facilitation as well. And it is conduct that is underway by law enforcement who are monitoring your documentation, all manner of an impermissible threat, and you will be going to federal prison for that. It is currently 9:33 a.m. This is P.O.C. 50133B3. PDV491, 7GJY159, 7THV585, 8WNX237, 5LLW932, 7CIW280, 7SMB139, 7UXV010. The entity engaging in what is, in the same way that I've described, by the way, what I was speaking at length about last night with regard to what are demons that are preoccupied with maintaining an outward appearance that would provide an explanation for what it is that you are looking at, which you are not going to question. For example, you're looking at directed light, but you're assuming that it's headlights because this demon is sitting in a car, and that's by design. All right. For example, and by headlights, I don't mean the ridiculous directed light that's appearing on the side of a freeway brick wall where there are no levitating vehicles in the sky that would create that light. That's straight up and down the P.O.C. Demons are engaging in crossing path on the street in their vehicles, for example, at nightfall. And then you've got directed light that's shooting diagonally, because you can see from the trajectory of light while they're molesting me with directed light. That's not headlights. the concentration of the light, the direction of the light, the length that light is reaching. This is not headlights. And demons are preoccupied with what is an outward form as an explanation for what it is that you are witnessing, which you are also not questioning. All right, and understandably so. All right, because you're ignorant about what surrounds you, the demon-possessed population. It is the same thing with regard to audible activity. Like I said, the mere existence of a train track in the city of Ontario is the guise under which, and it is an implausible and unpersuasive and unintelligent guise under which ongoing activity under the reminiscent of the sound of a train is created. Like I said, this is a demonic system, and so you're talking about license plate 8URR523. You're talking about what is the creation of sound of a train, like I stated before, where there is actually no train even on the tracks. This is demonic. All right, and the amplification of audible activity, sounding of a train, which is demonic, which you would not even hear under many circumstances, and it's occurring under the guise of what's supposed to be, oh, you're attributing it to the train, and you're not ordinarily going to question it. And because you're unaware, but that's the same thing. It's the same thing with audible activity, and it's the same thing with light activity. Okay, so I just wanted to point that out, and that's what the entity is doing all night long, creating train activity, doing so as a method of stalking with audible noise while I'm at the museum. And the demons of, for example, what you just saw, Officer Murdoch, that same agency engaging in ongoing harassment, engaging in surveillance, remaining around me, stalking in the path, pacing all around with the people of the state, demons. And using their sirens all night to engage in what is harassment, using the sound of a train to engage in what is harassment, but the minions are also monitoring with communication devices, doing so all night. That is a matter of documentation as well. It's currently 9:36 a.m. and I am at third-party facilitating venue Stater Brothers inside of the Ontario Village. This is P.O.C. License 8KZJ340. You see this minion engaging in the P.O.C. outside of the Ontario Village Shopping Center where I'm capturing video. And the video that's captured at approximately 9:36 a.m. The entity is keeping the fake sun over me, and I'm reminding you about what was 12 o'clock in the afternoon last Sunday, and also the fact of Monday through Saturday when I'm not at the Ontario Village at any time of the day. I am in the city of Upland, and the light source is keeping, just like I showed you yesterday, at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. It's right over the roof, while demons, the people of the state, are stalking in the bathroom. All right, and that's what's relevant to what is the perpetual sex offender, while that ongoing environment, which is a scientific impossibility, which is revealing the demon-possessed population, all right, who are engaging in what is surveillance with the government. That is why you have a fake sun that's over me in the morning, and this is the same venue, regardless of daylight savings time, under what is an impossibility. The light source is not going to be present over that. It's maintaining central presence over my head at the same property where I was later in the day yesterday, after remaining stationary. Remember my specifically documented conduct of remaining at the Ontario Town Square before I came to the Ontario Village. That's what I'm pointing out, where I'm documenting the minion that is the Ontario police officer going by the name of Murdoch, okay, who was stalking at the Holt Boulevard car wash. Okay, it is 9:41 a.m. and that is under daylight savings time. Last Sunday was 8:41 a.m. where I remained at Ontario Town Square. Okay, this is P.O.C. All right, you have what is the demon possessed of the male gender, group stalking in the men's restroom. This is positioning, and this is inside of Stater Brothers, and you have what is a group stalker already in positioning, maintaining presence in the bathroom, and you have another one that follows into the bathroom, which you would see on surveillance camera, and that's exactly what is the ongoing context and the criminal motive, which is sexually violent at a venue where the light source is remaining over me and where directed light is inside of the venue and outside of the venue. This is surveillance that is intended to be underway in the private space. I'm currently capturing relevant positioning and amplified audible activity. That's what the toilet flushing represents, while they are monitoring, while they're inside of the bathroom stalking. It's in stalking in relevant position. That's what group stalking is. It's 9:43 a.m. This is Stater Brothers. This is the amplification. These are demons. The hand dryer sounds like an earthquake. Is the bathroom stall empty now?
I'm sorry?
Is the bathroom stall empty?
Yes.
Is it empty? Oh, okay. I'm just getting this demon's image. They're present to engage in stalking in a bathroom. That's a perpetual sex offender. And I'm documenting them. And as you see, the perpetual sex offender, the male and female genders, violent sex offenders. It is currently 9:44 a.m. This is what the entity engages in on a constant basis, maintaining relevant positioning. It's P.O.C. 8DIX636. That's a disturbed one. That's a minion. stalking by remaining present in the parking lot and then moving their vehicle as I am walking out of the Stater Brothers. And this creates movement of engineered light, as though this is a demon. So light is not ricocheting, and this is not even the sun that they're under. And that's how they're engaging in what is maintenance of activity and stalking, while they are tracking your steps, necessarily knowing where you are in order to engage in such movement, which creates surrounding activity. Again, that's 8DIX 636. It's 9:59 a.m. 98048G3 molesting, 8VZE 991 molesting, and it's 10:01 a.m. 4KLK 207. You see the distance of that demon? That's the demon touching with directed light. That's a perpetual sex offender. That's also a hostile demon. I'm on the property of Starbucks. Okay, 706 West Holt. 8JOM 802 is monitoring as well. 5HWB 338, 8RGF 487. Sex offenders harassing and molesting with directed light. They're acting on behalf of an entity. It is the documentation of Attorney Ricardo Perez. 5NOZ 670, 7SQC 550, 7UXV01. I already read that one. I'm walking back through the parking lot of, well, it's anchored by Stater Brothers, but Stater Brothers is not the only venue here. But this is the Ontario Village Shopping Center, and minions are crossing path. They're stalking. They're only here to engage in that touching. They're only here to maintain presence under a fake sun, and thereby you are understanding what is a demon-possessed population that's entirely demented, and that is terrorism. All right, that's the whole purpose of what is a fake sun, contrary to what they present, which is supposed to be the innocuous and normal conduct. And this is the strip down of all of that. This is closeted psychopaths that are very violent sex offenders, entirely demented. 4MOV 931. 5UNA 895, and it's currently 10:06 a.m. 8SWZ 958. 7TMC 830. 8TOE 645, 7MPC 098, 4ZHP 289, 5TQD 756, 6UKJ 307, 7U94541, 6BHL 047, 6SKC 205, 8ZRA 938, 17145D3, 8ESS 966, 6THGO 96, 5DGB 374, 4SG 9637. This is a trailer on the back of the venue, on the back of the vehicle. These minions that you hear in the background, license plate, they're monitoring together. This is Demon Crossing Path. ELKEEEK 8LHC 832, 65889P2, 24923E2, 5MZW 373, 5BZJ 257, 66303E2, 6PDP 892, 8HLW 324, 5CPF 621, 5SO7 691, 5LJK 885, 7YGT 101, 8KHW 405, 8TJF 031, 8HKC 695, 6Z62997, 8FCH 605, 7PWR 473, 8RCK 994, a particularly thirsty minion. It's sad. All right, those are supposed to be thought of as what's supposed to be cool. I actually never thought those were cool. They're very annoying, obnoxious, demon-possessed youth engaged in driving those vehicles that sound like Coca-Cola bottles or Coca-Cola cans. He's stalking, tracking my steps at what is Laurel and this is C Street at the intersection where the chiropractor's office is, and this demon is using that loud, tacky vehicle as a method of audible activity while he is pacing in directed light. All right, that's the P.O.C. by a demon-possessed stalker with that license plate. It's currently 10:24 a.m. License plate 6UGR 094, 8UUT 815, 8XCE 009, 6NBW 625. License 6VGV 700, 1386382, 9314OJ2, 7LDV 383, I believe. $8WMV 495. And it's 10:26 a.m. 8W DF 563, 7LDV 338, 7DGR 514, 6NSH 846, 7K88. Hold on. License 84727N2, and then this is 7K48926. 5GJU320, 8NUT361. Old as dirt. This old white man sitting over here stalking. Okay, he got about half a block of life left. It's sad. And he's anyway, it's 10:27 a.m. 8BZX598 0287 U.S. And it's 10:27 a.m. and you'll recall again setting the clocks forward this morning. So this is 9:27 a.m. as of what was yesterday and last week, my documentation, where I remained at the Ontario Town Square. It is 10:27 a.m. That is 9:27 a.m. where last Sunday, where I remained in Ontario. This is what the state does with the fake sun, keeps it over me at the Ontario Town Square, which is where I remain, capturing video after video of the fake sun and speaking to federal prison for Sabrina and Officer Hernandez, where the fake sun was right there over me and directed light, just as is the ongoing pattern of conduct. The fake sun is across the street from the Ontario Town Square because I'm not at the Ontario Town Square, remaining over me as I show you at the Stater Brothers, at the Hope Boulevard Car Wash, as it maintained presence over my head walking to that venue and back, which I did today earlier than what is 11:41, which is the time where I'm capturing the fake sun as I have left the property of the property on the grounds of the Ontario Town Square. I'm standing in the Meridian facing the Ontario Town Square, and then I walk to the Stater Brothers, and that's where I'm capturing the fake sun over me at 12:01, which is what I just provided documentation for you to juxtapose to what is the presence at what is 9:35, but for daylight savings time, you're talking about what is 8:35. I was at the Ontario Town Square. Okay, this is P.O.C. 8WSG 789, not even including when I'm not remaining in Ontario. Okay, the actual sun isn't engaging in conduct like that. When I'm remaining in Upland, California, walking to Upland, California, the fake sun's not staying over some Ontario Town Square, which is only because I was at the Ontario Town Square. 8XBJ 771. They're all demons. 6230328. All right, and that system has been made manifest. It's currently 10:29 a.m. This is P.O.C. License plate 8USV 688, 7Z7 9809. License 7NEA 568. And I just want to point out this demon that's pacing with her vehicle, using it, and then crossing path with her communication device in hand. That's what you're focusing on. And doing so while directed light is ongoing, while these demons are crossing path, and doing so while the fake sun is over my head. You are talking about what is going to what is a venue that is not an actual church. That's a demon going to join other demons as they congregate inside of a venue where they're engaged in the demonic system of monitoring, by the way. Okay? That's what they're doing. All right? And calling it church. They can call it whatever they want. Satan can lie to they can lie to each other and to themselves. This is an entirely, first of all, it's criminal, and second of all, those demons will be prosecuted in that congregation. Every single last one of them, while they're in a facilitating venue and they want to call it a church. That's embarrassing for those minions and the fake God that they call themselves serving. It's currently 10:33 a.m. That's P.O.C. as I captured the fake sun over me on Euclid Avenue at C Street. This is the light source remaining in Ontario as opposed to being over me while I'm already in the city of Upland. While you're talking about what is the ongoing body of evidence that already speaks to where the light source is when I'm traveling as opposed to where the light source is, and that is directly over my head when I don't travel anywhere. That's POC. 8MMY071, 8ERM613, DATMACH, 7PPN429. And it's 10:34 a.m. (8KHR699) 8TFH794 7XRR030. Oh, let me get 8EIN422 8C13769 8TRL201. That's the entity stalking by airplane, which I already took a picture of as I'm walking under the fake sun remaining at the Ovid Family Community Library / Ontario Town Square. This is what the entity is doing, migrating to where I am positioned, and the entity, as I took pictures of, the fake sun is directly over my head at the Ovid Family Community Library. The directed light, where it is shaded underneath, it was shaded as I arrived. The entity engaging in what is the demonic and the conduct of the perpetual sex offender. That is moving that direct light in order to touch on my thighs, progressively moving it backwards toward me. That's terrorism with directed light. That's also the perpetual sex offender. While the demon possessed are patrolling back and forth, and this is what I'm taking images of. You see their shadows, the light source is hovering directly over them. They are stalking while the fake sun is right over my head, and while the directed light engaged in what is an ongoing progression backwards toward me. They are walking by with simultaneity to what I'm doing on my phone. They're demons. And they're stalking with the entity that is flying directly over me and keeping a fake sun over me. They're demons. It is currently 1:35 p.m. This is POC. Alrighty, I did capture video of what is the fake sun that's right over me, and by over me, I mean directly over my head as I am sitting at the in front of the Ovid Family Community Library, not where the entrance area is, the front that is facing the construction site. The front where I am on the morning where I'm capturing the fake sun at the same venue in alignment with me at 7:35 in the morning. The front where I am capturing the state's fake sun that is over this same location where I'm sitting facing at what is 9:51 in the morning. The front where I am, where the light source is maintaining central presence over me at the same time where I'm documenting the maintenance of a light source above the roof of the Upland Public Library, which is in a different city, which is also coexisting with documentation showing what is the real-time and necessary movement of that light source as I walk into the city of Upland or am on any mode of transportation. The light source moving as I move, in other words. The light source remaining present over the front of the the Ovid Family Community Library, where I am in conflict with where I am last week, which is at this time, I have left the Ontario Town Square, where the light source at no time is over the 280 North Limb Apartments, which I'm pointing out in those videos where I'm capturing it last week, okay, and the week before on February 27, 2022. You're paying attention to, there's no lights over the 280 North Limit Apartments. You're passing the 10 o'clock hour where I'm entering the Ovid Family Community Library, as I've already documented before. I'm at the Upland Public Library, arriving at 10 o'clock in the morning. The fake sun is visible through the back window at 10:09. The fake sun is right there over my head in Ontario at the Ontario Town Square, in direct contrast with what is, again, what would be the presence of the light source in Upland over that building if that was the actual sun. All right, it's not. And you're also recalling what is the ongoing pattern, which is entirely demonic, and this is the documentation of the state of California, the perpetual sex offender. And the demon-possessed that are the people of the state are a perpetual sex offender, as they engage in the same conduct of stalking with light, following with light, and the objective is to touch and molest with light. And so while I'm sitting in what is a shaded area on the bench at the front of the venue, I want to remind you of something. The documentation that I have shown for the prolonged period of time where I would traditionally sit on the side of the Ovid Family Community Library, and where was the state keeping the fake sun? And this is, understand, this is Satan that's controlling the natural environment, exercising real-time control. This is not the natural environment. This is not the sun. You're witnessing demonic activity. And so with regard to a stalker, what do? They follow. So while I'm sitting on the side, which is what I documented heavily in 2021, this entity was keeping a fake sun all day long while I would sit on the side of the Ovid Family Community Library. And the entity was keeping the fake sun on the object itself, over me in between the senior center and the 280 North Lemon Apartments, based on where I was sitting, aiming direct light underneath that side. The fake sun is directly over the edge, over the front where I'm sitting, and you see the same pattern while the fake sun is directly over my head and is moving backwards. By moving backwards, the light source is above. It is originally shaded while I sit here. As I sit here, which I've also documented before, this is the removal of shade underneath the large tree. All right, which the entity is engaging in what is the conduct of the perpetual sex offender, surrounding with, touching with, invading with engineered light. That is the sex offender that are the people of the state. Those are demons that stalk with light and invade and attack with engineered light while you are subject to surveillance with communication devices. This shall be the prosecution of the state of California of what is the people of the state who are the vicarious aspect of that public entity engaging in state surveillance as the perpetual sex offender. It is also terrorism, that documentation serving for that prosecution for terrorism while you are subject to this sort of attack and molestation on an ongoing basis, day and night, okay, with what is engineered light for purposes of maintaining criminal surveillance in concert with a demon-possessed population that are the people of the state. This is exactly what the people of the state demonstrate with directed light while they are driving by, while they are stalking with methods of light activity, using their vehicles, using any method of manifestations of light, while the entity is engaging in the ongoing pattern of conduct, and directed light surrounds you. This is the fake sun, which not only is this clearly captured in the video, I'm also speaking to what is the invasion with that directed light while the fake sun is already over me in an entirely impossible. There is no vantage point. It's here at 7:35 in the morning. It's not going to be here at 1:35 in the afternoon or 12:35 in the afternoon, but for daylight savings time. Nor is it going to be present when it's over the roof of the Upland Public Library at the same time. Nor is it going to be present when it's remaining directly over the field of the Ontario Town Square, which is a distinctly different location, which you can also see in this video. Nor is it going to be present when I am remaining at the Stater Brothers parking lot and am en route back toward the Ontario the Ontario Town Square, which is what was documented last Sunday. And no time do I come to the property, which it's across the street, but I don't come to sit on the grounds, to be at the entrance, to be sitting in the front. The entity is keeping that fake sun right over my head. And I'm pointing this out because these are the details that you're paying attention to, while you are also aware of what is, again, at no time is the light source ever going to be over the Wells Fargo, you're talking about 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning, and as I just go there later in the day. I'll just go later in the afternoon, just like I did today, and the light source is right over my head at that same venue, and then making a very specific migration to remain over my head as I sit in front of the Ovid Family Community Library, where the light source is documented as a matter of documentation. What is 7:35 in the morning, and you're going to recall what is the grounds of federal prison as this entity acting via Sean Thrasher and the people of the state who are present engaging in surveillance at this venue of Ovid Family Community Library and working at this venue, that the Ovid Family Community Library, where on February 4th, 2022, the light source is captured at 11:26 a.m. over my head. Now you're cognizant of what is daylight savings time. You can add an hour or keep it at the original time. It is an impossibility. The light source removes itself from Ovid Family Community Library while I'm in the vehicle of San Bernardino County, who have volunteered to take me to what is Mercy House, where the fake sun is captured over my head during the 1 o'clock hour. Okay, so I want to be clear. This is maintenance, and when you are understanding that ongoing big picture, every which way that I'm showing you, remember this and remember that, and you're recalling what is the ongoing maintenance of the fake sun. Don't even forget about Fontana. At no time today did I go to Pomona, all right, on the bus. We're talking about what is maintaining light over me, and then that act of terrorism while the demon-possessed are patrolling back and forth, while light is engaging in the impossible conduct of just increasingly progressive progressively moving backward toward me in order to engage in that terrorizing act of seeking to touch and molest, while it is the light source that is not even the actual sun that is over my head. Okay, it is currently 1:47 p.m. and that's a matter of documentation that I captured. And this is 1:47 p.m. as a matter of what is daylight savings time today. So you're talking about what is the entity keeping the light source over me while minions are patrolling around. That is the stalking activity by the demon-possessed population. The demon-possessed population engage in this matter of conduct while they are wearing police uniforms, driving fire trucks, driving ambulances, bearing children, pushing strollers, engaging in construction work, working at a bank, working at a cafe, present inside of a grocery store, pushing a grocery cart. You are talking about there is nothing that they are doing other than the ongoing surveillance. This is the demon-possessed population who seek to absorb themselves and exist like a normal person that is not subject to that spirit and this demonic conduct, but they are not normal. This is revealing that population and the criminal system that they are engaged in by virtue of that impossibility, as you see it glaring, as I have revealed that to you. And they are doing so, everything that they're doing with children in tow, while they're engaging in conduct that's supposed to look important on the outside because they're in a state vehicle, they're engaging in stalking under a fake sun and in direct light. And it is the very conduct on behalf of Satan itself. This demon possession is directly relevant to what is terrorism, terrorizing with what is engineered light. In other words, the entity is engaging in conduct in which the target individual has no way of, for example, quote unquote, escaping. This is terrorism while you want to molest and surround and touch and harass with engineered light, which is what the people of the state have been documented by the thousands engaging in for a term of years. This is also the grounds of what is the prosecution as a perpetual sex offender, engaging in this with the use of children. You are not only in what has been revealed as an abnormal environment, you are intentionally present in that abnormal environment while including those under the age of majority in that terrorizing and criminal conduct, which is also sexually violent. And that is serving for what is the prosecution of the people of the state who act as an entity, not acting as an individual. At prosecution, you will be sliced down and held accountable for the conduct that that entity engaged in. As they are engaging in criminal conduct, one minion engaging in harassment is the entity engaging in harassment, and they shall be documented as such. You document 1, you document 13, you document 2,000. You have documented the people of the state. The people of the state are the vicarious actor, how the government is engaging in monitoring with communication devices, which is surveillance in the state of California. That is what is directly relevant, and that is what is revealed by what is the ongoing documentation of what is a fake sun. Not possibly the sun that is remaining over me, and this ongoing invasion, this attack, this sexual molestation with what is engineered light, serving the criminal purposes of the demon possessed that are the people of the state. They are third parties. It is currently 1:50 p.m. This is P.O.C. This is the entity stalking by plane. Right over me where the fake sun is. There you go. Flying over me and walking past. This is crossing path. That's what these demons are doing. And I'm documenting the people of the state who are stalking on foot while the fake sun is directly over my head as I sit at the front of the Ovid Family Community Library. It is 2:19 p.m. And at the front of the Ovid Family Community Library is not possibly coexisting. And it is also speaking to the pattern of conduct as I'm subject to it in the city of Upland at Upland Public Library. It is not at the same time over the roof. It's right over my head. And it's right over my head when I'm inside of the building of the Upland Public Library, which is just one example. Because while I remain inside of the venue of the Fontana Lewis Library, where I've documented the maintenance of a light source that's not possibly the sun during every business hour that I'm there, from the library opens at 10, the light source is remaining over the roof, aiming directed light inside of the Fontana Lewis Library. And it's the same for the Ovid Family Community Library, where engaging in a grand departure from my being here at the Ovid Family Community Library since the criminal act of criminal summoning, as is documented by this entity on February 4th, 2022, for which is the grounds, by the way, of federal prison, not just for the Ontario Police Department, but the state actors at the Ovid Family Community Library. This is documented already. You're talking about, and not only that, the departure, which is, again, before February 4, 2020. Wherever it is, 2022, wherever it is that I'm going is where the light source remains. And so that is speaking to the absence of any light source that's setting in alignment with the entrance of the Ovid Family Community Library when it is remaining over the roof of the Fontana Lewis Library, when it is in alignment with what is the B&G Plaza, when it is in alignment with what is the Upland Public Library, where it's present at 8:21 in the morning. Okay, so like I said, you're talking about what is all manner of being all over the place. And what else am I being all over the place with regard on a specific street? And then when I engage in an anomaly going to Fontana, that's not on a specific street. And that light source is maintaining the same central presence and maintaining that same stationary presence, not going anywhere, not the sun. In addition to that, so that's what I'm speaking to. The entity is group stalking by commercial airline planes. That are the people of the state using companies engaging in state surveillance, and they're going to be prosecuted for that. The entity engaging in what is the maintenance of a fake sun at the Ovid Family Community Library while I'm sitting in the front. And you're going to remember the entity is keeping the fake sun literally over the Ontario Town Square, over the field. If you pay attention to the light source, I am in nowhere. It is not over anywhere. The building of the Ovid Family Community Library. You see it vastly changing. And where is it vastly changing? As I go from Wells Fargo, the corner at C Street in Euclid, to standing at the entrance of the Ovid Family Community Library, to sitting in the front, and you see that light source that remains right over me as I do so, in conflict with being and remaining in the city of Upland. But it is in conformity to a pattern of stalking with a light source. And that light source, as it is remaining over me, is speaking to the absence of an actual sun, hence the term fake sun. Alrighty, it is currently 2:22 p.m. and the entity is engaging in monitoring, group stalking by commercial airline planes, and group stalking while they're walking in engineered light where the fake sun is right over me. This is where they're pacing. This is P.O.C. All right, minions group stalking. License, and this is the people of the state that are engaged in a molestation. 8 DQC 621, 8 UAD 514. Engaging in sexually violating another, terrorizing and interstate stalking with the government. IL 8NBYD. 8 KUP 982. You hear the state stalking by aircraft. They're monitoring. 8 EDF 650. 7 ZAC 606. 4 XYD 365. You also have a minion that's on the opposite side of the street, stalking with using their vehicle as a light in the path. Okay. 7 FDJ 634. 4 XOG 994. 7SGF 934, 5SSV 506, 7TYG 737, 5VKU 905, 7TGU 844, 6ELM 748, 8SHP 292, 4YFS 497, 8ATR 871, 8WHN 761, 7UDH 788, 8ZQC 620, 6YDX 511. All right, I captured another video of what is the fake sun as you see it moving to what is the back parking lot, and that's the same parking lot as you look at the documentation, the same parking lot where the light source is over me at 7:35 in the morning. As then I walk to the opposite side of the building, and you see the fake sun keeping in alignment with me at the turn circle, the entrance area of the Ovid Family Community Library, and you are talking about what is keeping that alignment with me as I am in the city of Ontario over a same property. Your daylight savings time or not, 7:35 a.m. to what is 2:40 p.m. That is impossible. That is speaking to what is an ongoing demonic system, as I've shown you from every vantage point that one can fathom, which is with regard to what is unmistakable, what is insurmountable evidence, what is also reliable with regard to whoever you are and wherever you are, because of the exclusivity with regard to the alleged sun that does not actually exist. This is a light source, and this is a demonic exercising of control of the environment, contrary to what we have been told with regard to what is a fallacy. The sun, this gaseous ball of fire, the star that we read about in textbooks, that we study about, that's supposedly controlled by, you're talking about, and able to identify, that is a fallacy, as I am capable of documenting. I'm not controlling the environment. I can't make that up. I'm documenting while I am subject to this targeting system, and it's relevant to what is criminal activity. Okay, let me get this minion right here. crossing path while the state is amplifying plane activity, and the fake sun is back over the edge where my property, where I'm sitting, no longer over the back portion of the parking lot, no longer over the turn circle at the entrance area right where I am, and also not over the roof of the Upland Public Library. Also not over the Ontario Town Square where I remained last week. After going to Stater Brothers, showing you the fake sun that remained at that same building, 150 East Hope Boulevard, which I showed at 1:34 in the afternoon. Impossible. It's present there when I'm getting up in the morning, 6, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, and it's there as I documented last Sunday at 1:34, and then I returned to the Ontario Town Square where the fake sun remains over my head the entire time, never over the Ovid Family Community Library. It is, in other words, not behind me, which I would have been facing in order to show you that fake sun, and I even point that out in my video. You see how it's not over the 280 North Limit Apartments? You see how it's not in alignment with what is the entrance? It's right here over me while I'm sitting at the Ontario Town Square next to the big clock. You see how it's setting, and I put that in air quotes, that fake sun is then setting in alignment with me over the storefronts, the same storefronts that I was standing by this morning as I was walking toward the Ontario Town Square. That's where the state placed its fake sun. It was setting. Why? Because it's not the sun, and it's a matter of where I'm located and keeping it in alignment with me. It's called stalking with light, and that's terrorism while a demonic targeting system is underway. It is also the grounds of what is the sexual violence, the perpetual sex offender, that are the people of the state, demons, and the government itself, the state of California, while they intend on engaging in what is an entire environment that has been broken down. It's serving for what is a criminal system that maliciously exists systematically, and demons are merely maintaining presence all around, unbeknownst to you, where you are placed under surveillance by a government, and it's entirely demonic. Okay, it is 2:46 p.m. and that's a video that I captured. This is the, again, big picture. Not only is this impossible, I'm showing you this is nowhere in the city of Upland, and that's what the entity continues to do. And you're also remember what is 2021, let alone 2020, 2019, 2018, but what is 2021? Where I'm working at Country Village, and the moment that I started documenting the fake sun, the state stalking by helicopter and airplane, they unlawfully relieved me from that work site. That's a matter of prosecution. I will be prosecuting the people of the state. Understand that's a whole other level of a hostile work environment while you're subject to federal group stalking and monitoring. The moment I started documenting, which is your lawful right while you're subject to it at the workspace, you're talking about what is being relieved from that job, which I was overqualified to do. And I want to be clear, going to that job knowing that I'm subject to federal group stalking and monitoring, which is in other words an ongoing unlawful threat, all right, that I'm subject to at the workspace. The fake sun is over that village, Country Village in Harupa Valley, while it's remaining over me in Ontario. Remember that. The state's keeping a fake sun over Economy Inn, where I'm sleeping day and night as of this time last year, where the entity is keeping that fake sun morning and night. Following, by the way, the 60 freeway is the freeway that Tracy Banks was driving on to get to Country Village and back in the morning. The fake sun was over me on that 60 freeway and back. All right. And the entity engaging in what is keeping a fake sun is then I remain at Economy Inn full time, going to only leaving that property to go to, for example, the grocery store, or to go pay my phone bill at T-Mobile, which I documented the state keeping its fake sun, and direct the ongoing stalking conduct. We'll keep it over the Economy and all day long from rise until set, and I put that in air quotes because it's not the real sun, using the terminology that we have been told about, that we've been taught about with regard to acknowledging what is a fake sun, all right? But the entity would engage in departing from that. It's not remaining over Economy Inn all day long, when it's remaining over me as I leave from Economy Inn to go to T-Mobile and pay my phone bill, all right, which is the neighborhood I'm in right now. This is the state keeping that fake sun over me. This is relevant to what is now the daylight savings time analysis. As of today, daylight savings time begins, and again, that is only speaking to what is moving our time up an hour. Everything that I documented before today, daylight savings time, is still relevant. You're talking about look at what the state is doing with the fake sun. It's remaining all day long, regardless of what time daylight savings time, regardless of what time you're talking about all day long. That's not the sun. Daylight savings time or not. You're talking about what was the state doing with the fake sun last year, keeping it all day long over Economy Inn. Daylight savings time or not. All right, but I am speaking to what is absolutely reliable documentation. It is raw and unedited. It is the timestamps are the names of the documentation, the literal time that I took it. That is speaking to documenting what is the environment that is entirely unnatural, and it is revealing demonic conduct. That demonic conduct is key to what is criminal. That's why this demonic environment is relevant. This is terrorism. While you're stalking with an environment, that is terrorism. And it's also terrorism while you're stalking with a demonic environment and monitoring the documentation of the target individual who has become aware of it. This is the grounds of federal prison. You're going to federal prison for that, period. Okay, and those companies engaging in it, they are going to federal prison. It's a new day. Engaging in state surveillance, you're engaged in criminal conduct. You're not engaged in selling products. You're not engaged in serving services. No, you're facilitating it, whether you want to claim knowledge or not. Guess what? A demon's audible activity or claim of ignorance is legally irrelevant. The ongoing facilitation of what is a demonic system, which is terrorism and monitoring with communication devices, is the evidence by which you will be prosecuted. And understanding that demonic environment is revealing what are the demon-possessed who inherently lie. You don't have a legal excuse, period. The ongoing inclusion of what is the supernatural is the removal of a legal argument in the tribunal. Okay? You don't have one. And this is a malicious system that the entity you're talking about, the demon possessed, are engaging in and thinking that they would, being on Satan's team, if you will. Oh, they're going to get away with it because who's going to be able to prove it? Satan itself is helping us. Satan itself is covering up the fake sun on Wednesday when the target individual captures it on Monday and Tuesday. And it doesn't change. And I've shown you every which way the entity is engaging in an ongoing P.O.C. Daylight savings time. You're talking about year-to-year documentation. You're talking about what is day-to-day, as I'm showing you blatant stalking with that light source. It is surrounded with that evidence. And so you're talking about what is a demonic entity acting and through what is a public entity who's doing it vicariously through the people of the state. And these people, as they demonstrate their demon possession, it's directly relevant. It is legally relevant. It's going to what is a prosecution. Those demons are driving company vehicles. Those demons are engaged in massive facilitation while that any amplified audible activity is attributed to a company. Union Pacific likes to pace back and forth on Amtrak train tracks. Amtrak itself likes to engage in the P.O.C. They've been documented. And by the way, it is unreasonable to suggest that there is some exception to that pattern of conduct where a government is engaging in surveillance and utilizing the people of the state. The very environment is facilitating that, and somehow you are exempt, and you are not. You are not. All right? And so you're talking about what is a malicious criminal system by a government. You're going to chop that down to size. Those companies engaging in surveillance, they are not only demonstrating their demon possession, they are engaging in an ongoing demonstration of an intent to terrorize another while they are engaged in that facilitation and the pattern of conduct itself, and you will be going to federal prison. And those companies will also be held civilly liable for that. And that's a whole other unprecedented facilitation, because you cannot quantify the harm that is intentionally inflicted by a demon-possessed entity engaging in what is a criminal system that it had not anticipated would be revealed. But not only that, even upon realizing that it's revealed, you see what is that attitude toward that. It's to inflict more harm. It's to terrorize further. It's to engage in facilitation while obstruction of justice is underway. You're going to be subject to that. You cannot quantify that. Okay, so like I said, that is an unprecedented civil proceedings with regard to what is also criminal. Because you're engaged in business, you are not escaping. That's the malicious. Let me be clear. The entity heavily relies on the people of the state. That's one of the most malicious forms of the pattern of conduct. And you see their demon possession demonstrated, personified the same. Okay, naming a company is nothing other than a means of identifying another demon-possessed actor who will be suffering the same consequences as every other third party and or state actor. You're acting on behalf of the government. You're documenting the government. That's who is doing this. The government is doing this. And this is their puppets of Satan. It's demonic. All right. It's demonic activity 2022 revealed. The demon-possessed population, and in the United States of America, there is no privacy. The very people that live in this country and the government itself are engaged in the heights of hypocrisy and criminal conduct, which is antithetical to the very founding papers that we supposedly are governed by. All right, the contract that the people have agreed to with the government. We never agreed to be subject to surveillance. I thought that this is some of the founding bases upon which this whole country is founded, because we supposedly have these human rights. All right, these intangible rights that no government can delegate to us. No person gives it to us. Let me be clear. The pattern of conduct is that which is existing under the fallacy of free society. That's the only difference between us and some third world country who are violating its citizens in the same way. We just call ourselves free so that you think you're free. You only think you're free. That's the difference. So it is never even running around in your mind. You will never even suspect. You will never question, especially when you're getting everything your way. Everybody has their little social media platform. Everybody thinking that you are, no. These are minions. And it's an entire population that seeks to exist among the normal, those who are not under that spirit of oppression. That spirit of oppression is criminal. To be of that condition while you're stalking on behalf of the government, that's grounds for what is prosecution as a terrorist and engaging in what is criminal surveillance with that government. That is how and why that very condition, not only are you able to know it as a matter of fact, objective evidence demonstrated through the environment and the conduct, but it is going to be used to prosecute you for what is surveillance by government. And so it's currently 2:55 p.m. and I captured that, and you're going to recall the documentation from 2021 where the entity is keeping the fake sun at this time of year over Economy Inn, which is in Ontario, which is near adjacent to the 60 freeway, where the state was keeping the fake sun as I would go to Country Village Apartments in Riverside County, keeping the fake sun over me. The end of that work assignment, keeping the fake sun over my hotel room as I remained there at Economy Inn, and day and night. The fake moon was over my hotel room. And this is the center of the universe that you are, while a demon-possessed entity, a demon-possessed government, is placing you under surveillance. Okay? So it's currently 2:55 p.m. This is P.O.C. License plate 8PFN868, 8BHL 385, 4WYC 039. Group stalking in the parking lot 78447W1. The parking lot of the 280 North Lemon Apartments, where the fake sun is remaining over me and not remaining over the Ontario Town Square, as it's not while it's over my head at the edge of the front of the Open Family Community Library, the front being the area facing the McCarthy construction site, where, by the way, I've captured video of it being over the roof right over my head at 9:51 in the morning, over the property at 7:35 in the morning on both sides from the parking lot to the entrance area, which is exactly what I captured this afternoon during the 1 o'clock and 2 o'clock afternoon time. 35940J2, 94203H3, 7MPL725. So these minions are parked in relevant position, maintaining presence, moving their vehicles around. This is the ongoing conduct of demons. They're moving around in the engineered light. All right. And they're also engaging in what is directed light. This is their demonstration of demon possession, while ongoing directed light is moving about on the surfaces while they are moving around in the engineered light, and a fake sun remains over my head. It's 3:02 p.m. 7LYB202. CTANLEI. Stalking with activity 7TPA 418. And this is Metro 102, where demons engage in light activity creation, stalking on the side of the building. 8WY8937, 6YMK104, where you have the entity engaging in harassment last night, trying to tell me what to do with my phone while you're stalking. Ooh, I can't do anything but laugh and prosecute. 8ZLJ451. Let me be clear. The fake sun during the day, facilitation with light activity, that's a tactic of demons. WHUTUUP. Monitoring with this demon is license plate 7KVG178, coming from Metro 102. That's a demon crossing path and using where they live. That's facilitation 78447W1. $8LDP053, 8GNT513. It is 3:04 p.m. $8YCP148, 7SJM084, 7JOF929, CA75J24, 7VCR805, 7XLK181, 7WJK252, 8RSE885, 8HRF343. Directed light inside of the parking garage of Metro 102, impossible light activity. And this is a minion that's in the parking garage monitoring while that impossible light activity is occurring. I've shown you this before, actually, inside of the parking garage where Ontario PD were stalking yesterday under the fake sun in the morning. That parking garage, I showed you what was my shadow appearing in the depths of that parking garage. All right, impossible light activity. That's what's occurring inside of the venue where you hear this minion burping. That's audible activity. It's just a disgusting method of the same. 6UQF412. that flashing light appears on the brick wall. That is the conduct of demons, okay? There's no light source in here. There's nothing that's going to create that light activity. Oh, this is a weirdo. 7SKP555. This demon is literally locked in stature while he is maintaining presence. This is the conduct of demons, okay? 5XGR795, he stands like a statue and does so based on what I'm doing. And as I look, he's facing the opposite direction and I'm just watching his stature. 8JSV935, watching his stature, and then he continues walking as I'm saying, paying attention to what is the conduct of a demon. He's just maintaining stationary presence based on what I'm doing. Anyway, with regard to the light activity, what I'm pointing out to you is that there is no, there's no directed light gun, all right? You're talking about what is the conduct of spirits. That's what is manifesting what you can see with your eyes, the directed light. And this directed light is fanning across the brick wall while this minion is in relevant position. Okay, it tells you about the condition of those. And this is also a stalker that's in the parking garage while I am outside on the sidewalk. And minions are surrounding and the fake sun is over me. 8SDA895, I just want to point that out. Directed light is the conduct of the demon possessed. 5JAB003, 8ZDS861, 8SGR379. And the very pattern of conduct itself, again, but for documentation, you're talking about what is the demon possessed who call themselves mental health specialists. These are puppets of Satan who will then diagnose you as engaging in what are hallucinations, while the entity is engaging in an entirely malicious and entirely demonic pattern of conduct designed to place you under surveillance. That's what the pattern of conduct is designed to do. And it is very real. Directed light is very real, as I've shown you that. 6ZET803, and there is no explanation with regard to the conduct that they engage in. And you're talking about what are puppets of Satan that are then engaging in what is diagnosing you. And let me be clear, they do it maliciously. Let me tell you something, Satan has minions positioned. They are not diagnosing you with hallucinations because they have not themselves witnessed it, or because they don't know or cannot fathom what you are describing, or, you might not even be able to describe it very, clearly. But you're talking about what is malicious. Puppets of Satan engaging in defamation while you are subject to this demonic system. 8AES095, CB45H57. 7HYF211, 6PIZ347, 7EIR644. Aiming directed light into the depths of this Metro 102 parking garage where I am. Let me be clear, the entity is stalking while I'm inside of the venue. That is also speaking to any address. The people of the state are stalkers, and it's a demon-possessed population. That's why that impossible light activity is ongoing. Let me point something else out to you. 6WXD177. There was no conversation between me and any state actor or mental health personnel. That never happened. The entity engaged in honing in on me, trying to kidnap me, and just dress me and place me as a crazy person, and doing so because the entity knows that I was documenting it. But I want to be clear, I have never spoken to them, never made any allegations, because I already knew at the outset what I was dealing with. They tried to dress me as a crazy one, place me in a ward as a crazy one, upon kidnapping me and having no legal right to do so. What I am referencing is the ordinary target individual having no knowledge of what they are being faced with by government, what may very well try to report what they are subject to. And let me be clear, the entity's conduct is to engage in what is then diagnosing, oh, really, you're seeing, oh, you're hallucinating, oh, you're paranoid schizophrenic, you're crazy. All right, that's how the pattern of conduct works. They did that to me when I didn't talk to none of these minions. I didn't tell them anything. They knew what I was doing. They knew what I was documenting. Okay? That's why you have ongoing heavy-duty stalking by law enforcement. All right? That's why you have ongoing harassment, criminal summoning by third parties. That's why they're engaging in defamatory and false accusations. That's what Tracy Banks did. We didn't ever call the police. Where did they do that? We don't do that. Never did before. As soon as I started documenting, though, that's exactly what happened. It's P.O.C. 8RZL252. 8RIH747. I'll get this minion's license plate. It comes out to engage in directed light is occurring in the parking garage, okay? 8UUS209, license 5CVR402, 06385K3, 8KZG897. Now understand what this demon is doing. Her form is turning her headlights. It's not headlights, it's directed light. This is a demon. License plate is 7VYN121. She does get into her vehicle as a method of what is crossing path, light activity creation with her headlights, but this is a demon who is touching the far wall behind me with what is directed light. And directed light continues flashing in here. Let me be clear, the people of the state, every single last one of them, are being documented as I'm reading, as I'm reciting to you what is the terrorism with directed light inside of a parking garage. And that's exactly why you can do that. And that's exactly why all of the people of the state of California are going to be prosecuted. 7LVY 404, 8RBB 872. And that demon is engaging the P.O.C. where she lives, okay? And what does she represent? She represents the people of the state, all of them. 7JTM 459 that are engaging in conduct on behalf of a government. They're stalking with light in the parking garage with their turn signals on. 7VYN 121. I want to make sure I read that demon's license plate again. She comes out to engage in the P.O.C. All right, using their turning signal inside the parking garage. This is the demonic pattern, stalking with light. They're doing it in a parking garage. 6LGV 823. Paper plate 785328F. That's a Land Rover parked here. 5WUM 305. 6VYH 132. 7FOD 931. Alrighty, showing you what is that demonic pattern, as I pointed out, stalking in the path with light activity creation. That's what they're doing in a parking garage, and not parking, sitting next to a wall, sitting next to the soda machine with a turn signal on. That's a method of flashing light. That's a demon that's doing that. Following into the parking garage. This entity knows where I'm at, and they can monitor me while I'm documenting and prosecuting them and putting them on the map. Okay, 7JTM 459, 5UEK 155. 78FW 905, and you are aware of that. Those are all not unfounded. That's founded statements that I'm just making because of directed light. All right. 6LGV 823 engaging in terrorism inside of the Metro 102 apartments. That is going to every single apartment that is occupied with a minion working here, whether they're leasing, whether they're management. All right, whether they are regional management, okay, those that are management of the agents that work on the property. I'm talking every single last one of them. They're going to be prosecuted. 7MBW344, 85680D3, 8TWJ222, 8DFR176, 6GSN690, 05655G1, 8APX834, 6YLS972. 6FRB 645. Taking a picture of what is impossible light activity that's occurring inside of the parking garage of Metro 102. That is light that is touching on the ground inside of the parking garage. That's impossible light activity. BP21F81. The entity is engaging in, again, directed light is supposed to be the form of what sunlight. That is, first of all, not the sun. Second of all, it is speaking to what is the placement of engineered light inside of the parking garage on the ground, as though the sun is aiming light diagonally underneath into the parking garage structures, the little windows, and that is the very, very far and extreme method of surrounding with engineered light on surfaces. Stalking with light, surrounding with light, engineered light. 7YXE417, 8HBH994, and I took a picture of that. That's impossible light. 8KNY998, 95405K3, 8XFS256, 8GDH794, 6UKB720. 8REC246, 7VCR808. And by the way, that light source that would not be present over Metro 102, certainly not going to ever have any light source light touching on inside of the parking garage of the Metro 102 when the state's keeping a fake sun over me in the city of Upland. But let alone, it's not reaching down into the depths of the parking garage of Metro 102 apartments. It's ridiculous, as is the entity's conduct with directed light. This is demonic. 7AGD035 molesting. 5MNZ052, 6STC002, 8WPD781. C. 7WGR246, 8RTC230, 8XAP590. Done. 6HCN227, 8UYK292, 8MDK636. Seven VJH 759, 8 CFX 516, 8 HYU 839, 7 XQH 257, 8 RGK 545, 5 VAZ 446, 8 SFS 235. 8VQV 768, in case I didn't read that one. 7 PGS 152, 6 UKB 72. I read that one. 7 PF, 7 PVE, 7 PVF 707. Excuse me. 7 RXG 625, 8 KLZ 802. Looks like 8 UBB 631, 7 MCE 214. Entering and directed light, which is flashing in the garage. 7 VPT 070. Those are demons that are stalking with sirens. That's Ontario Fire. Metro 102 is monitoring with them. 7 MQE 214. Impossible light activity of the fire engine lights inside of the parking garage. 7 SYR 006. And the sirens stop as soon as they pass by me, okay? That's P.O.C. That is, let me be clear, this minion that's sitting in their vehicle, you hear the beep beep, he's sitting in his vehicle, then that's an African-American, black-faced minion, monitoring with the state. 8KLZ 802, 7ZYR 467, 7WGW 394. Those sirens immediately stop after that directed light appears inside of the parking garage, and that minion, being the fire department, those minions drive by. Okay, at the same time that these minions enter the parking garage, they're crossing the path. 7 VPT 070, 7 PVF 707, 6 SYN 872, 5 WAM 838. Restarting sirens as they're listening to me point out their pattern of stalking, which is long documented. It's ongoing audible activity. They're targeting the sounds with where I am in alignment, stalking in the path with audible activity, coexisting with directed light. Okay, 5 WAM 838. 8WRY 460, 7KYD 745. Make sure I get that. Alrighty, this is 6VGK 294. Just want to make sure I read these that are in here. And again, while walking through, I took a picture of what is impossible light activity on the ground as though sunlight is reaching into the... and it's not, I took a picture of that so you can see what is engineer light. And also, you're talking about what is, while I'm in here and I'm reciting in real time, directed light flashing across the brick walls. And then you'll have the demons that are engaging in sounding their sirens with directed light. It's just red and orange colored directed light, indicating the demons that are the fire department. 8 HEV 033, 7 RXG 625. I think that's most of them, if not all of them. That's P.O.C. That's Metro 102. The demon-possessed population at what is Metro 102, that's an apartment complex at 102 Lemon in Ontario, California. That's the address. 102 Lemon in Ontario, California. It is currently 3:18 p.m. Righty, touching is license 8CRX 940, and I already got this minion, 8LDPO 53, 5CDF 935, 8TJL 399. In this video, the fake sun directly over Metro 102. This is the same property where you have the minion using their vehicle with no license plate and a paper plate only, with the hazards on. And the African American, he looks like a crackhead. He's in the custody of a minor child while he's engaging in stalking and terrorism, and then commences to telling me what I'm going to do with my phone while I'm documenting the fact that he is representing the government stalking, all right, and engaging in interstate stalking. This is that same property. Every single last one of them that live here, work here, are being present. They're the people of the state, the entirety of an apartment complex, which is, again, that's nothing major. You're talking about the people of the state. All of the people of the state are going to be prosecuted for what is criminal activity with the government. 7DGR 522, 4SZG 688, 8MBU 106. It is 3:22 p.m. and as I step out of the parking garage, I show you what is the fake sun that is over the hovering over the edge of the apartment building where I entered and exited the parking garage. And as I walk around and I get their license plates, you have what is you're seeing the fake sun that's above the building, and there is no vantage point. First of all, it's not the sun. That's not the sun that's remaining over the Fontana Lewis Library all day long, remaining over the Upland Public Library while I'm there all day long, setting there in the morning, there in the evening when I'm there. That's what I captured yesterday while Elaine is group stalking, crossing path, walking up the stairs, and you see what is directed light that's being aimed inside of that Upland Public Library. As I've also shown you the fake sun that remains in alignment visible through the windows of that venue. You have what is the fake sun that's over Metro 102. And this is the same Metro 102 that's on the opposite block of the museum where I get up in the morning. I want to be clear, this is the same Metro 102 where I documented the state engaging in setting a fake sun at this B&G Plaza. This is the same block. The fake sun is directly over the Metro 102. And what I'm capturing, what I'm documenting inside of that parking garage, which is underneath the apartment building. You're talking about what is the fake sun that's above the building, and there is no vantage point over any side of that apartment where sunlight, in other words, because that's not sunlight, where directed light is what is being aimed onto the ground through the windows of that parking garage. All right, and I stepped out and I captured video of that. All right, you're talking about what is the entity. Again, what's the pattern? The state's just moving the fake sun around while I'm walking through that parking garage, and that's why it's over me at the point where I walked out of the parking garage. If I would have walked out on the opposite side, it would have been right there over that side. Like I said, you're looking at what is the position above the building, and there is no position that will ever create any light that's going to manifest on the inside of that parking garage, which is underneath. That's an entirely specifically placed directed light. It's absolutely impossible, and that's why I captured video of it, in addition to what is also, profoundly asinine, while the entity continues to provide the ongoing evidence of this demonic system and its criminal complicity with the people of the state, while they're engaging the system together. All right, and that's why you have this ridiculously asinine light activity that is not in it. Like I said, it's not rocket science, and it surely is not rocket science. While you have seen me document day in and day out the fake sun that's in Upland, California while I go there, but yet I stay in Ontario, and there it is over the Metro 102 apartments and the Ontario Open Family Community Library, the same library where I'm present at 7:30 in the morning. Okay, so like I said, not only that, you have what are demons engaging in the pattern. You see them, I took a picture of it, in other words, actually, by the soda machines inside of the parking garage. They're stalking in the path with light. That demon stops on the side in alignment with me, turns on a turn signal. That's demonic. It's a method of stalking with light. That is an act of terrorism. The people of the state heavily documented engaging in that act of terrorism. It's facilitation, all right? And that is a facilitation of a threat to your life, okay? While you're monitoring the documentation. The entity engaging in what is placing the directed light that is flashing across the walls inside of that parking garage. And so I just want to reiterate all that the entity engaged in inside of that parking garage while I went through and read as many license plates as possible, documenting as a matter of publishing it on my podcast, what are the people of the state. You're talking about what is the long reach of the law. You don't have to do what I'm doing. I'm establishing precedent, and I'm identifying for purposes of publishing what is necessarily a matter of public information, identifying the demon-possessed population. Okay, while they're engaged in criminal activity, and the people of the state together are going to be prosecuted as the criminal that it is, acting on behalf of and in concert with the government. Okay, the same government that's stalking via American Medical Response outside of what is the Mestiza. That's the venue, using the ambulance as lights. This is on the opposite side of what is 123 West Hope Boulevard, the United States Postal Service. This is P.O.C, it's facilitation, and it is the entity engaging in what is criminal summoning. It is light activity while the fake sun is right over me, the same location where I was yesterday morning, where the Ontario police were group stalking at the parking garage, and the light source is right over my head. It is currently 3:26 p.m. Alrighty, capturing video of what is criminal summoning by American Medical Response, and capturing what is the ongoing surveillance by the demon-possessed that are the Ontario police, who are engaging in what is maintaining presence that is engaging in surveillance while the fake sun remains over me while in relevant position, and at the same parking garage where they were engaged in surveillance. And that's again a matter of what is relevant positioning. The entity is engaging in what is amplifying sirens, where I am focusing that activity on me while directed light is appearing inside of that parking garage, and possible light activity as I step out and show you video. Fake sun is over that venue, speaking to the use of those sirens, criminal summoning, the use of the lights by American Medical Response, criminal summoning, and in the video, while you are capturing what is, what is the loitering presence in relevant position. This is the stalker that is in the uniform of the Ontario Police Department, under what is the fake sun that's right over my head, at the address where the fake sun is beginning in the morning. Daylight savings time or not, it's an impossibility, and that impossibility is what is prefacing the prosecution of that entity acting directly. That's federal prison for the Ontario Police Department. That is federal prison for American Medical Response, okay? They are maintaining presence. That's the Ontario Fire Department and American Medical Response, which I'm capturing images of. They are engaging in facilitation 7SSF013, crossing path monitoring with the entity. And so on my video, actually, you'll hear what is loud horns, that sound. They sound at the moment that was simultaneous to Ontario Police Department movement. And as you begin movement, while you're sitting in alignment, while you are stationary in the path, that's called being in alignment. It's group stalking. While you begin movement, you are crossing path. At the moment that Ontario Police begins crossing path, meaning moving from the place where they're engaged in surveillance, they're engaged in surveillance at this parking garage like they were yesterday in the morning under the fake sun over my head. They are this afternoon during the 3 o'clock hour, all right? Daylight savings time, the 2 o'clock hour, equally impossible and asinine. The direct evidence that who Satan is using and what Satan is doing is that which is literally suffocating the demon-possessed population. And that is, again, the grounds of what is federal prison. As I documented this entity, the Ontario Police Department stalking this morning, stalking right now again, and with simultaneity to that Ontario Police Department, understand what that is. They start sounding their horn, all right, at the moment that the Ontario Police start crossing path in their vehicle, which I capture on which I capture on video. This is the coinciding conduct of what is audible activity, which is amplified. You hear a loud horn where I'm standing. It's amplification you're listening to. It's demonic. While Ontario Police are driving very fast inside of the parking garage, they're stalking in the path. And they are doing it while the fake sun is remaining over me. They're doing it at the same location where I captured the fake sun over me in the morning at 8:39 yesterday. Okay? You're talking about what is engaging in the P.O.C. while I am documenting Metro 102. The Ontario Police Department, you're talking about what is revealing their condition, which is demon possession, revealing the condition of the Ontario Fire Department, and revealing the demon possession of the American Medical Response. These are state actors. And I am present showing what is a fake sun that remains over me while I'm subject to surveillance. And this fake sun is relevant to what is not only that which is demonic, but that which is speaking to the presence of ongoing engineered light. That is a sex offender that wants to terrorize, invade, surround, and molest with this engineered light while placing you under surveillance with communication devices, 6ULA811, while molesting, surrounding, invading, terrorizing with this engineered light, maintaining presence, which is the conduct of demons who do so as a group, while engaging in invading, molesting, terrorizing, and surrounding with engineered light and surrounding as a group, which is the conduct of demons. You're talking about the ongoing creation of audible activity. That's what you hear, and that's ongoing surveillance. 5HZN104 is a demon that is monitoring while that activity is being created. Documenting that one demon is a documentation of the people of the state. This is the state's pattern of conduct. The state is a sex offender. The state's engaging in surveillance. The state is stalking. It's entirely satanic while the state does that. This is the state of California that is engaging in what is terrorism. All right, and so you were talking about what is the prosecution of the people of the state? A demon-possessed people who will engage in ongoing demonstration of that demon possession. As I've documented, that is what is the significant about the directed light conduct while they are stalking in the path, acting as a group, demonic, on behalf of what is an entity under a fake sun, demonic. Okay, so I want to be clear, that's the conduct of stalking with light, which is entirely rooted in what is satanic. Okay, that's what the environment is about. You're witnessing the ongoing control of the environment, which is not a natural environment. This is exercising real-time control by Satan itself. Satan is a spirit. Satan you cannot see. It's not a person moving. No. You're looking at it through what is the environment as I'm revealing it to you. And that is what is prefacing the use of emergency lights in alignment to me. The use of sirens while I'm inside of the parking garage of Metro 102. And as I step out, the fake sun is directly over me. While I am at the intersection of Transit and Lemon and the fake sun is directly over me, while the entity acting directly is using lights on an ambulance, while they are engaging in surveillance, stalking in the path while I'm both at Metro 102 and as I'm walking down the street of B&G Plaza. This is being surrounded. This is a demonic targeting system, surveillance system that is underway as you are witnessing that demon possession, that stalking by the Ontario Police, by American Medical Response, and by the Ontario Fire Department. And that is while I'm in Ontario. They don't have the opportunity to do that while I'm in Upland. You are not surrounding, the fake sun is not remaining over the Metro 102 apartments. It is not coexisting. It is not at the same time remaining present over every building, over every person, going in every direction all day long. That is impossible, and that's not even the definition of the sun that we've been told about. I'm revealing what is an impossible environment. It is impossible because it is demonic. This demonic environment exists for the criminal purposes of a government that is engaging in what is massive surveillance through every single last person who will be documented. 7WLA773, by virtue of naming one. You name one, you name all of them. The government is doing it in concert with the people of the state. The ordinary targeted individual is not in any way faced with the unrealistic and unjust effort of naming thousands and thousands of people who are stalking with the government. The system itself exists for what is literally would be otherwise impossible. okay, in order to acquire justice in a matter that is necessary with regard to what is a government system of engaging in stalking through everybody and everywhere that you go at all times, day and night. Okay, so I want to be clear. You are documenting the people of the state as you identify, no matter how many people you are identifying. The government is the one that is maintaining presence through them. All right, and it is an entirely unjust supposition to even think that you're going to have to. What I am doing is I'm establishing present. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to name the minions. I'm going to name the demon-possessed population. The ordinary target individual does not have to do that. You are talking about what is documenting the government that's placing you under surveillance. You can name your mother, and that will be it. The people of the state will be prosecuted. This is a prosecution that is against the government. The government is acting through the people. The people will not avoid that prosecution. This is a criminal system that has been revealed as it exists. Thinking that, again, the entity is engaging in a malicious system that's designed to, in every way, avoid ever being capable of being prosecuted. That's not the case. That's not the case whatsoever. You see the system, you see the environment, that's how you're doing it on a massive basis. And you're talking about what is conduct that's on behalf of an entity. You document one minion, you've documented the people of the state. The people of the state want to engage in criminal conduct with the government, every single last one of them are going to catch that prosecution. That's what happens when you engage in criminal activity with the government. All right, and you're talking about what is federal prison for those who want to engage in kidnapping. The people of the state have engaged in kidnapping. They're going to federal prison for that. I want to be clear. There are those that have been documented acting on behalf of an entity. You will be charged, and that is going on your record, and that will have also ramifications in your everyday life of, let me be clear, the extent to which is to be expounded upon at a later date. But you're talking about you're being prosecuted as a stalker, a sex offender on behalf of a government. That's going to have reverberating repercussions, okay? Whether you go to federal prison as the one engaging in criminal summoning or not, you're going to be charged and prosecuted as one participating and engaged in what is a kidnapping of an American citizen while you were engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring. Every single last one to be prosecuted for that. This is necessary as a matter of justice because the government itself is engaging in what is a malicious system that from the outset was never, ever supposed to be revealed. And why? Because you engage in what is falsely defaming, maliciously defaming and kidnapping an American citizen that would otherwise allege it. Doesn't have the opportunity to when the government's engaging in kidnapping upon fictitious exercise of authority under the law when it is the criminal placing you under surveillance. All right, so like I said, it's currently 3:39 p.m. And again, it is 2:39 p.m. with regard to what is acknowledging daylight savings time, which began today, 8XGK186. The entity engaging in this demonstration and video, while the fake sun is over me, and I am literally at the same intersection where the fake sun was over me at 8:39 in the morning, and that same demon-possessed agency, the Ontario Police, engaged in surveillance at the same venue, 8TCG498, and acting with AMR and the fire department who are creating light in the path while OPD are engaging in surveillance. They're surrounding the perimeter while I'm at Metro 102 and then while I walk down the street, okay? And I capture that on video. Under what is the direct evidence? The fake sun that is, you're talking about 8:39 in the morning and 3 in the afternoon. Even if you want to do 2 in the afternoon, it is impossible. Okay? Impossible that would actually be the sun. And this is what prefaces that criminal system as I have surrounded the entity with that evidence. And you were talking about what is, let me be clear, a prolonged period in federal prison because that is the malice and the intent by an entity that engages in criminally, in alleging false allegations. That is the criminal assertion of false allegations, engaging in what is criminal defamation, engaging in what are the ongoing acts of kidnapping by an entity that is engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring. They are going to federal prison. They continue to wage an impermissible threat. They are monitoring the documentation. You are going to federal prison. You're going for a very long time. And this is necessary for also establishing what is precedent. While the government wants to place American citizens under surveillance and then engage in obstruction of justice. Let me be clear, the American citizen that begins documenting, the government knows that you've started documenting them. They want to continue, you'll go to federal prison. Period. That's the precedent, okay? So I want to be clear on that. Let me get these minions over here. This is Ontario Police, group stalking at 3:41 p.m. This is 2:41 p.m. P.O.C. Alrighty, documenting the ongoing conduct of the Ontario Police who are group stalking. Let me be clear, not only is the fake sun over me at 3:40 p.m. The fake sun is over me in the morning while I'm documenting the demons of the Ontario Police Department at the Hope Boulevard car wash, where I walk west and the state's fake sun is remaining east directly over my head. You also see that ongoing trend. But the light source is remaining over me as I'm documenting Ontario PD at the car wash. While I'm documenting them, by the way, at the car wash is where I am at the same time as I spoke to this morning remaining at the Ontario Town Square, which at the same time I'm also documenting my presence in Upland, California. As the Ontario Police Department are crossing paths, they do so with knowledge of what I'm documenting about them. This is the foolishness of what are the demon possessed, and it is foolish because you're going to federal prison, and that's how easily you document it. And when you are revealing what is that pattern of conduct, what is the conduct? What is the mindset? What's the motive of that? It's entirely foolish. All right, but let me be clear. That foolish conduct is the conduct of demons who want to demonstrate that they have nothing to fear. If it was so criminal, if they were so scared of being prosecuted, why would they do it in broad daylight? That's the mindset behind that. It is absolutely foolish that they're providing what is documented. You're going to federal prison for that. It is the P.O.C, the entity, and thousands of videos engaging in what is a demonstration of demon possession, including the Ontario Police Department. I'm speaking and referencing what is directed light. That's an ongoing threat, a sex offense, while they are stalking in the path, and they are under what is literally the light source that is over my head at 3:40 p.m., the same venue where the state is keeping the fake sun on the same block. Understand what I captured at the Hope Boulevard car wash is on the same block. 3:40 in the afternoon, daylight savings time or not, it's an impossibility. And this baboon crosses path, identified as law enforcement, and provides that ongoing documentation while he is also demonstrating demon possession. That's a threat. You are stalking in the path, and you're monitoring the documentation. And you do so foolishly, thinking that you are engaging in what is conduct that's going to suggest that which is contrary to what it is that I'm alleging, and it is not. That is the pattern by the demon possessed as I've demonstrated it to you. And it is also a failure to what is addressed and confront what is that scientific impossibility that you are crossing path underneath, which is the pattern of conduct, stalking under the fake sun. That is the scientific impossibility that you are unable to address, while they are also engaging in what is surveillance in that environment. Over the same intersection at 8 o'clock in the morning, over the same intersection as I captured at what is 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And then doing so while they're monitoring my documentation, the fact that I just caught them, and I already documented them, they're already going to federal prison. Okay, you're talking about what's going for a long time and what is speaking to what is a template, how you're going to treat the demon-possessed in law enforcement agencies, period. The Ontario Police, they don't have a leg to stand on. You're talking about engaging in the criminal conduct while you're monitoring the documentation. That's an impermissible threat. And also, what is the futile conduct of such a demon? Engaging in what is conduct that is in plain sight, and that is to suggest that they have nothing to fear while they're monitoring your documentation. It doesn't change the P.O.C. They're monitoring the documentation, and the conduct of that is to suggest, well, we don't have anything to fear. I don't even know what you're talking about. If that was so incriminating, if I was monitoring, that would be so stupid for me to drive right in front of you. Again, when I know you're documented, that's the ongoing mindset. Okay, that is the futility with which, let me be clear, you are not addressing what is a legal argument. You're not addressing what is the environment, a scientific impossibility. It is present because the P.O.C. is underway. You are the same entity engaging in stalking in the path, stalking with audible activity, engaging in what is waging false allegations while you are repeatedly kidnapping. This is the agency. This is the same agency where the fake sun itself is captured over that Ontario Police Department, the demonstration of demon possession. They are acting in concert and threatening on a constant basis. And it is literally that easy as they are demonstrating their foolishness. And this is, let me be clear, the foolishness and the futility of what is Satan itself operating over this minion, driving this Ontario Police Department vehicle. And that's what they continue to do. All right, and as easily as I documented that video, as easily as he made that stupid decision, that's as easy as they go to federal prison. Because that is the P.O.C. It is seamlessly, you keep an impossible environment. Once you're aware of what is an environment that is literally an impossibility, it's like, oh, that's how they're doing it. Yeah, that's how they're doing it. That's how you have strangers that are stalking you. That's how you have what is the impossible occurrence of what is directed light while you're driving by, and you're not even driving by in a natural environment. No conduct of driving by ever is going to result in what is light ricocheting off and touching someone while you're driving by them in any direction. Not only that, I'm surrounding them with the address. So I remain in Ontario, and I'm at the same address I was at in the morning. Okay, and so you're talking about what is the literally futility. You provide documentation serving how you belong in federal prison. That's what they just did. All right, let me be clear. That's the entity driving that Ontario Police Department vehicle. That's the entity. And talking about you're understanding what is the foolishness of the conduct that they engage in. It is in no way whatsoever helpful. It is in no way suggesting anything other than the P.O.C. is underway. You're talking about what is the impermissible threat. And that is the very mindset of these demons who are stalking and engaging in criminal activity in plain sight. And that is the false notion that if you're doing it in plain sight, then it's not criminal, and that you're clearly unaware, and that you're ignorant, and that the allegations are false, because why would you engage in that criminal conduct that's so egregious, that would have such repercussions, and why would you do it in plain sight?
So I want to be clear, those are the tactics of Satan. And you're going to federal prison for that. That is called the impermissible threat. And so what you are doing is you are monitoring the documentation, and you are continuously engaging in that P.O.C., which the people of the state and the Ontario Police Department, the Fire Department, AMR, all of the above, continuously engage in. I'm at the same intersection. That's what you're going to focus on. First of all, they're crossing path, representing what are, first of all, demon possession. You're demonstrating it, and you are law enforcement. You are engaging in an impermissible threat while you're monitoring the documentation. You are in no way presenting any argument helpful to you or the people of the state while you were in that under that scientific impossibility. Directed light and a fake sun over my head at the same address where I'm getting up at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning, daylight savings time or not. And you're also talking about what is the state keeping a fake sun at 2301 South Euclid Avenue, Country Village Apartments, where I'm on shift at work. The state keeping a fake sun over my head. It does not coexist. You are under what is the direct evidence and understanding what is an entirely malicious system. That is the grounds of what is federal prison for a very long time. That's a dangerous psychopath and a criminal with very malicious, highly malicious motive behind that video that I captured. That is speaking to what is federal prison for a prolonged period of time. Okay, you put away that threat, you extinguish the entity, engage their appetite for engaging in that threatening conduct, or you're going to satiate that appetite with federal prison. Period. Okay, it is currently 3:50 p.m. and that's the threat that the Ontario Police Department chooses to wage while they're monitoring documentation, which is not new. They continue to do that, and that's fine. That's speaking to what is a template of federal prison, straight up. 761 S45. Alrighty, the entity engaging in stalking by helicopter. You engage in stalking day in and day out by helicopter is not in any way suggesting that you don't have anything to fear because you're stalking by helicopter in plain sight on video, and that is the asinine mindset. The entity is stalking, and that is incredible in and of itself that you're stalking by helicopters, and that's exactly what it is. And where are they stalking? In a very specific environment. I'm showing you what are the Ontario Police and the people of the state, one entity who threaten together in the same manner, stalking in your face, threatening you in the same manner while they're monitoring your documentation. That's an impermissible threat. Impermissible threat equals federal prison, especially for law enforcement, upon disbanding such infected and plagued agencies. And infected they are. It is currently 3:51 p.m. And again, minus daylight savings time, it's 2:51 p.m. where a fake sun is over me at this intersection as I'm documenting the fake sun, where I'm getting up in the morning at the Ontario Museum of History and Arts, where I have from the morning gone off to an entirely different city. You're talking about Fontana, where I go and remain. You're talking about what is Upland, where I go and I remain. Okay, and the entity is in direct conflict with that, while this idiot is driving by thinking it's helpful, and it's not. It's idiocy. All right, you're talking about what are the inferior, the demon possessed, woefully unprepared for what is documentation, and incapable of what is addressing what are the legally relevant facts. You cannot. All you can do is engage in what is idiot conduct, which is the ongoing crossing of path, hoping that it's going to suggest that you're innocent and that you don't know what's going on because you're doing it in plain sight. That's literally the mindset of these minions. This is P.O.C. 25922E3 7MNX 114 BFJA334 7ZVF 073 7WYB 035. License plates 8SFT 303 37997J2 BL 60Y08 paper. License, ship him out the country if he's not a natural born citizen, 6TNR 313. License, BU81B99 paper, United States Postal Service, vehicle 7202180. That's a male driving that vehicle. License plate, 6CQX521. That's audible activity and engineered light, 7XDA475, 8YLP898. License 28086B3, 8DBN850, monitoring to that amplified audible activity, 8WWF 614, 8095 7U1, license 8DHT 902, 8NXB 468, 7B21506, 8YMZ 474, 8URV 174, 34949R2, 6RFR 465, the demon-possessed population that are the people of state engaging in what is an impermissible threat, amplifying audible activity. This is the ongoing continuation of that P.O.C. while they're monitoring that documentation. These are the same sex offenders, okay? So like I said, what you're listening to is ongoing facilitation. All right, and one minion speeds off, another one is documented, and that is the entity that's being documented, and they will be catching every single last ounce of those federal charges. License 714ZE handicap 8S. Oh, I read that one already. CA96T64 paper plate. It is currently 3:54 p.m. 8 PSA 770. License 8NEW 809 4HBH 812. A lot of H's. Okay, 25922 E3 5RCC 585 6WYT 084 6WYT 084, yeah. 31114D2 6PXA 523. XUC 867 7FNE 752. Just as you saw Southwest Airlines flying in relevant position to me while I'm on Holt Boulevard, showing you the county building, flying over the Ontario Town Square where the fake sign is. Matter of fact, you saw Southwest Airlines doing that as well last week. That's exactly what amplification of audible activity, and the minions at the Ontario Town Square are monitoring with communication devices. While you hear that audible activity, the minions are monitoring to that. It is 4:10 p.m. License 8NNE206 8FJJ013. You have what is massive facilitation by third-party facilitating venue Metro 102. You have the, it sounds like a fire alarm. That's exactly what it sounds like, ongoing beeping. And the entity that's engaging in surveilling me under a fake sun in relevant position using the improperty of Metro 102, the fire alarm, which also creates light activity. And the entity, remember, this is actually demonic. So what I want to stress is this is audible activity reminiscent of what is a fire alarm. It is nonetheless amplification. It's audible activity. It is coming from what is a property that is Metro 102. And when you use fire alarms like that, that creates audible activity and light activity. All right. And that's Metro 102. That's facilitation. All those demons who I documented their license plates while the fake sun was hovering over their apartment building. In the moment that I start recording right now, the fire alarm stops. That's the entity that's placing me under surveillance and creating that audible activity. 7RTM287 4CGL144, and that's called criminal summoning. The people monitoring together. This demon crossing path 8W93566. There we go. 8W93566. Directed light while the demons cross path in a fire truck. That's 132569. 1332569. They're under the fake sun. This is criminal summoning. And let me tell you something. The alarm has been going off for a prolonged period. I wasn't acknowledging it. The moment I get up and start documenting, then the demons are crossing paths with fire trucks. It's been going off for a long time. It stops as I start recording. Audible activity of fire trucks and directed light while they cross path. That's 8W39566. DJ Lugo, Luz Sonido. Directed light while that demon crosses path on Metro 102. And this is criminal summoning by the fire department. License 125773. This demon crossing path, monitoring with the fire department 8XUL070. And that's criminal summoning by Metro 102. That's why I read all their license plates. This is the people of the state that engage in the criminal system with the government. Under what is the same sky space of what is, first of all, directed light, the fake sun, and while the state is stalking by helicopter, that is the state stalking by the fire departments, creating light activity. 8NNE206, 8FJJ013. 6WND231. 7UUN561. 7ESC971. 8PDC329. And let's see, license plate 8X. Over here loitering at 280 North Limit Apartments, monitoring with the Ontario Fire Department 8XKF241. And this one is making a U-turn in directed light. This is a demon, 8XKF234. License, he has an Asian female on the passenger side of the vehicle, 90120A1. And license plate, 8DDY287. It is 5:45 p.m. Alrighty, documenting what is that act of criminal summoning by the Ontario Fire Department, and you see the fake sun in alignment with me at the Ontario Town Square, where the light source has remained over me at the Ontario, at the Ovid Family Community Library, at the Metro 102, where they engaged in criminal summoning, and at the Ontario Museum, where I get up in the morning, where I show early in the morning, and this is the same block where the light source is over the same street. Okay, I want to be clear. That is no movement whatsoever in the direction that the actual sun would be, where it's supposedly engaging in what is ongoing movement on a constant basis. And this is contrary to that, and that is speaking to what is, again, that fallacy, the lie that you've been told, that I've been told. I'm just documenting it in order for you to witness it. And it is prefacing what is a criminal system. And this criminal system is demonic. This is also making manifest for everyone to understand the reality of what are, first of all, what is a demonic environment that is controlled by what is the supernatural. This is not a natural environment. This is actually demonic. This demonic environment is speaking to real-time control of the environment around us as we know it, as you're looking at it and you're not questioning it, because, I mean, why would you? But for facts and circumstances that show it to be very peculiar and contrary to what it is that we know. And by we know, I mean what I know about the sun, what I've read about the sun. I went to school and I know what is absolutely impossible when I'm witnessing it. And it is so impossible. It is something that you have to literally engage with documentation. And so I am publishing that to the masses, and I'm showing what is not only, this is speaking to the reality of the presence of Satan through the environment. This is wicked. This is abnormal. This is demented. This engineered light, this maintenance of this light source, and the demon possessed who surround, they are sharing the same demented character as they are engaging in the same conduct of stalking with light. They are stalking as they intentionally maintain presence in this abnormal environment. They are stalking while they are maintaining presence all around systematically and intentionally, while they too are also manifesting light, which is demonic. It is abnormal. It is scientifically impossible. It is no product of sunlight. This is not even the sun that remains over me, and it is not a product of sunlight. While the demon possessed, that's exactly what they demonstrate, while they are engaging in what is creation of directed light, manifesting, touching, molesting, harassing with directed light while they are stalking in that environment. This is serving what is a monitoring system, the engagement in what is surveillance. Right, so you have an ongoing engagement of what is a system that surrounds it. This is the significance of what are demons who are stalking in the path. And when you are understanding this pattern of conduct, you are looking at every type. And I put that in demons. This is the demon-possessed population. So you are witnessing what are the demon-possessed of the fire department while they are stalking in the path with light using their vehicles. All right. While you have what is a fake sun that remains over me, an impossibility. This is how you are able to recognize what is actually ongoing, as opposed to what the entity would have you know is surrounding you and is focusing on you. All right. So I want to be clear. That's what I captured right now. Multiple acts of criminal summoning today while the state kept a fake sun on one block. I did not walk to Mercy House today. Obviously, I didn't walk to Upland. I walked to Ontario Village earlier in the morning, demonstrating what is the ongoing departure from this. This has nothing to do with any movement, the natural movement, the ongoing consistent presence of a light source engaged in an ongoing orbit at a predictable, nothing is predictable. It is engaging in what is nothing other than following around and remaining. That's the definition of that, is stalking. All right. And doing so with a light source that is not possibly the sun under any sun during the daylight savings time, nor under the time of year where it's fallback, where we set our clocks back. And today is the first day of what is daylight savings time. And let me be clear, not only is this absolutely probative of what is an ongoing fake sun, daylight savings time or not daylight savings time, this is documentation of what is a light source that remains directly over me in alignment with me for the duration of a day. And not just that, over a very small location where I'm at. I go from the museum to the next block to the Ontario Town Square, and the same square is encompassed within what is the Ovid Family Community Library. And as I walk through the parking lot behind the 280 North Lehman Apartments, and you're also going to be aware there's greater context because I'm documenting these venues early in the morning before I go to Upland Public Library or before I am inside of the venue of the Ovid Family Community Library, and the state is keeping its fake sun over me as I am coming from the B&G Plaza, for example, walking to these venues. I'm on a different schedule and coming from what is a different direction, not in a vehicle being driven from 630 North Fern. All right, I'm coming from the museum and I'm walking and I'm getting up at different times early in the morning, showing you what is supposed to be a quote unquote sunset over these same venues. And you're talking about what is now adding on an hour. You can add an additional hour. That's what daylight savings time is. And you see what is the light source that is remaining. And doing so, not just remaining, which is impossible, over a single address for the duration of the day. It is remaining at a single address for the duration of the day in alignment with me, over my head and in alignment with my person, while you have what is engineered light that surrounds all over the surfaces. And that's what I point out, aiming light underneath structures where it would be shaded. All right, that's what I'm speaking to, invading with light in order to engage in that ongoing sexual violence, which is the perpetual sex offender, the demon-possessed, want to molest and invade and terrorize and harass with engineered light while they are placing you under surveillance. All right, so that's the significance of that, and that's how that legal framework that's the construct of that legal framework, excuse me. The entity keeping the fake sun over the Ontario Town Square is that which defies that which is anything that you can. There is no way to confront that. There is no way to address that. There is no explanation for it. It is literally an impossibility. The actual sun is not one that is maintaining exclusive presence over a single address all day long. But this is what I'm documenting. This is what I've captured. That's exactly the case when I'm going from, if you look on a map, the Ontario Town Square at 225 South Euclid Avenue to what is the Ontario Museum of History and Arts at 225 South Euclid Avenue and to the Ontario Town Square, which is steps on the opposite side of the block on the same street, Euclid Avenue. And then I'm also reminding you, because there's a big picture, there's ongoing consistent documentation, what I have shown from the beginning, from the outset, cumulative documentation. The state engaging in what is where I am remaining at a different time. It's a different time. Well, I'm remaining in a distinctly different location, namely the Economy Inn at 231 South Euclid Avenue. This is in Ontario, but it is at the south end, nearest the 60 freeway. And I'm coming from an entirely different venue. I am not at this in this portion of Ontario, and this is also speaking to what is on the same street. So the entity is engaging in what is keeping the fake sun on one street. And also not just on one street, which is impossible. Euclid Avenue runs north and south. But again, you're also remembering it's not just one street, because the entity kept its fake sun largely where I remain, where I would return to. Again, I'm sleeping at the museum. Coming from 630 North Front, the fake sun starts there, remains over me if I remain in Ontario. If I'm walking to Upland, which happens to be up Euclid Avenue north, the state is keeping its fake sun there for the duration of the day, which is how I'm able to capture what is impossible light activity inside of the Upland Public Library, which is never you are not able to see the light source from the inside of the Upland Public Library of what's going on at the Ontario Town Square. All right, and the lights that you see underneath the amphitheater while I'm remaining at the Ontario Town Square, you're looking at the trajectory. It is impossible light even while the fake sun is at the Ontario Town Square, but nonetheless, it is not coexisting with being over what is D Street and precisely seen through what is in alignment with me while I'm standing inside of that Upland Public Library at 450 North Euclid Avenue in Upland, California. The entity is aiming directed light onto the second floor above the circulation desk in order to keep light inside of that venue, where it's maintaining all day long over the roof and over and through the essentially the windows that face D Street. This is the ongoing documentation and in the face of that, the entity placing a fake sun in Ontario, keeping it over me. This is, again, just a plain disregard. This is what is referred to as, by the way, the impermissible threat. This is a plain disregard for what is anything remotely concerned with maintaining some sense of what would be possible to actually be the sun. And like I said, there is no possible way. When you are stalking with a light source that is not possibly the sun, it is not difficult whatsoever to show that scientific impossibility. and you are talking about what is the ability even to reference my documentation, any other American citizen, in order to show what is not the sun that's over you. It is impossible while it's remaining, for example, again, over one address all day long, over one street for the duration of the day. Okay, you're talking about what is remaining on one side of the street and then setting on the same street, on the opposite side of the same street. That is to the exclusion of being anywhere in Los Angeles, for example. That is to the exclusion of being anywhere in the city of Riverside. Contrary to what I documented 365 days or 366 days ago, you're talking about this time last year, when I was working at Country Village and the entity kept a fake sun over my head from the morning, as I would report there, but at or around 7 to 7:30 in the morning, and the state kept a fake sun at that property all day long, all day. And then following back to Economy Inn. Okay, I wasn't sleeping at the museum then. I wasn't sleeping in Tracy Banks's vehicle at 630, outside of 630 North Fern. And that's where the state kept a fake sun. And that's what the state did with the fake sun as I remained at that property of Economy Inn. And again, going on today's March 13, 2022, as you are, again, the ongoing documentation, it is cumulative and it remains relevant to what is being documented today, because you're talking about what would be the sun and you're talking about what would be, in other words, the presence, the ability to see that sun, the ongoing ability of that light source to coexist with what it's doing now, based and what the entity is doing now with the fake sun is based on where I'm at. But where was I at last year where the entity is stalking with the fake sun in an entirely different location, engaging in going to a job site in a different county, and then returning to what is a hotel while the state was maintaining a light source that is in no way coexisting with what the state is doing with the light source a year later, which again, that's relevant when you are looking at and documenting what is supposedly the sun, which is going to engage in substantially similar conduct around the same time of year and the same time. All right, you're talking about daylight savings time and the time where we set our clocks back, and versus you're talking about what is the same seasons and what the state is doing at the specific time of day and that time of year. This is all that I've provided in my documentation. And it is literally, with regard to what is a fake sun, the entity is all over the place and it does not coexist. It is mutually exclusive. In addition to that, big picture, not only is the state keeping a fake sun over me as I go to Los Angeles County, and not just Pomona, you're talking about what I went to Lancaster, I went to Azusa, I've gone to Los Angeles, downtown Los Angeles, the entity keeping a fake sun over me in San Bernardino County, which is Ontario, Fontana, Upland, for example. The entity keeping a fake sun for the duration of the day in whatever location I happen to be at, and doing so, which is matched with what is this engineered light that you see moving across on my person and invading underneath structures, which is absolutely impossible light activity, speaking to the concentrated effort to touch everything around with this engineered light, including my person. All right, that is the big picture. And the entity is engaging in, when you are looking at what is the documentation in San Bernardino County, with regard to going from Ontario to Upland, it is a humongous street, right? It happens to go from Upland into Ontario. But let me be clear, that is no migration, as the entity is keeping a fake sun from that is Economy Inn at the 60 freeway end of Euclid Avenue up until and past the 10 freeway, which is off of Euclid Avenue, and up into the city of Upland at Foothill. The entity is engaging in what is documentation showing how the fake sun is not the sun at all, while it is remaining over one street where I have a documentation where I've been on that street at different locations, different times of the year, and the state keeping its fake sun over me on that specific street, and doing so, and in doing so, it is not moving in any direction west. All right, it is remaining. That's what this documentation of remaining at the Ontario Town Square provides. That's what this documentation of remaining at the Upland Public Library all day provides. That's what that documentation that I already gathered of remaining at the Economy Inn off of Euclid Avenue provides. And the actual sun, the light source, which is not the actual sun, the actual sun as we know it does not actually exist. That is documentation of proof of what is no conduct whatsoever reminiscent of a sun that is engaging in supposedly constant movement, rising in the east and setting in the west, not on the east side of the Economy Inn Hotel, and then the west side of the Economy Inn Hotel where I remain. That's not rising in the east and setting in the west. That is stalking with light, keeping the fake sun over that venue for the duration of the day, as is the pattern of conduct, while invading underneath structures where it would be shade, which is also mutually exclusive when the fake sun is documented remaining, for example, over the Family Community Library all day long, but not when I go to the Economy Inn Hotel. It remains over that hotel all day. Okay, and then the entity is engaging in what is conduct, for example, vastly different. Where I'm in Fontana, where does that fit in? It doesn't, because it's not the sun, and it's not occurring at the same time, because the sun also is not some star that is maintaining omnipresence over everyone, over every direction, appearing to maintain presence central over your head everywhere that you're going at the same time. That's not the star. That's not the sun either. But that is what the entity is essentially. Speaking to, well, I don't want to say speaking to, that is the only thing that you would try to assert, which is a losing argument. It's not an argument, because that's not the sun. It doesn't. So what can you say? You cannot confront that. You can't address it. The only thing you can do is continue to keep stalking with this light source, continue to engage in that P.O.C, and go to federal prison for it, which is serving for the creation of necessary legislation and a policy precedent, if you will. But all that you can do is engage in the pattern of conduct, because for that to be documented, there is no defense. It is revealing what is intended to be maintained as a secret, and that is the fact that Satan itself controls the environment. It is not a matter of Mother Nature. It is not a matter of some natural evolution of the environment, as firefighters will tell you what's causing these fires. Oh my goodness, it's global warming, or our climate is changing, we need to take better care. It has nothing to do with that. All right, this documentation does have many implications with regard to what is ongoing real-time control of an environment that is not a matter of what is science. All right, this is the supernatural. This is the demonic, and the demon-possessed surround. The demon-possessed engage in criminal conduct of what is surveillance, and you're seeing the identical pattern, and that's what's relevant to what is the fake sun that remains in alignment with me, while the demons of the Ontario Fire Department engage in another act of criminal summoning, while they are in alignment using their vehicles as light activity creation, like a demon does, while a fake sun is remaining over me. All right, an address that happens to be the Ontario Town Square, which is feet away from the Ontario Museum, where the state is engaging in rising a fake sun, like the sun rises right there over me. Impossible. All right, so it's currently 6:04 p.m. And that's just giving the bigger picture, because what remains relevant is where I was and what I was doing last year, and that was Country Village Apartments. And once that assignment ended, because I was documenting, which is that exceeds what is ordinary labor law with regard to bad cause for being released. You're talking about what is obstruction of justice. All right, the pattern of conduct of federal group stalking and monitoring is underway while you are engaging in that unlawful release from a job, while you are engaged in the P.O.C. on behalf of the state. That's why the state was, just like you see today, under the fake sun, stalking by helicopter, flying over me by helicopter, amplifying it inside of that office of Country Village, while those demons that are psychopaths that worked at that office were in there talking and laughing and coking and joking like it wasn't happening. Okay, that is the demon possessed. That is speaking to what is relevant for the prosecution for terrorism, as this demon possessed population engages in stalking and terrorism with the government. And exactly what you saw today, which I will be publishing, the video documentation of the state keeping a fake sun over me in Riverside, that's specifically it's Harupa Valley, which is in Riverside County, and the state was stalking and flying over me by helicopter, which I documented on video during the time that I was working at that venue. And the state was keeping a fake sun over Harupa Valley. Not just in Harupa Valley, over me as I go from Economy Inn on the 60 freeway to Harupa Valley, the property of Country Village Apartments. Over my head, I documented it. This is the same time of year, okay? And last year, 2021, we changed the time at or around March 14th, 2021. So you're talking about what is the same time of year, and the documentation remains relevant when your daylight savings time is doing nothing other than setting our clocks forward an hour, and you are seeing what is the same impossible conduct with the light source, which is maintaining static presence over me, which is how you are revealing what is a targeting system that you're subject to, and that targeting system is satanic. Okay, but I am remaining cognizant of, because I am providing what is documentation, so you can see every which way. This is not the sun. Daylight savings time, no daylight savings time. You cannot address what is keeping a light source over me, which is not possibly sun, over an address all day long. It's on one side of the street, and then it's at the other side of the same street at the same property. At the end of the day, that's not the sun. That's entirely demonic. And while the entity is engaging in that terrorism, that's what it is. It's terrorism by a government, and it's terrorism by a people. And documenting even one of those persons that are of a specific condition, while you document it, you're documenting a demon. You're documenting the people of the state. They act as an entity on behalf of the government. Okay, and that is speaking to the prosecution of the people of the state and every single last one of them engaging in this criminal system, which is no longer concealed, is no longer a secret. You're talking about what is necessarily extremely severe penalties under federal law, as you are understanding and witnessing the animals that are the demon possessed. Whether they have constitutional rights or not, that's fine. You'll be prosecuted in a court of law for what are the inhumane and unconstitutional violations of another that you have inflicted. But it needs to be known what is the conduct and the character of those. That's what I'm also teaching you about simultaneously while I am documenting and prosecuting a demon-possessed entity that is engaging in highly criminal and malicious conduct. It is currently 6:07 p.m. and this is P.O.C. at the Ontario Town Square. And the state is keeping a fake sun in alignment with me and doing so while it is monitoring through the people of the state who are engaged in nothing other than surveillance. And this is the preoccupation that the demon-possessed are engaging in at all times. And it is not contrary to what normal people are concerned with, actually going to work and minding your business and doing whatever it is that you do on a day-to-day basis. The demon-possessed are not consumed with that, and they are maintaining, and as they would like to absorb and blend in with every other normal person. This is the form that they would like to assume. They are not. They are maintaining presence around you while an environment is intentionally maintained, deliberately maintained, conducive to their criminal conduct of interstate stalking with the government. Okay? And so you're talking about what is psychopaths, relevant to what is their prosecution as terrorists. And that's exactly what that is. It is entirely demented while they keep their third eye on you, looking the opposite direction. That's what demons are doing. That's why the fake sun, a scientific impossibility, that's a matter of fact, as my documentation has revealed it. All right. And I'm not creating anything. All I'm doing is capturing it for you to see, because that impossibility exists over you. You just haven't paid attention to it. Okay, so this light source that's remaining over me at a property all day long, that's how you know it's a fake sun in the state of Nevada. That's how you know it's a fake sun in the state of Florida. Okay, because the entity is keeping a fake sun over me over a single address. And that is when I don't go anywhere. In order that you may know, do not be deceived. The state is moving a fake sun, keeping it over my head, thinking that, oh, it's so large, it's so grand. How are you going to be able to prove? So the entity literally keeps the fake sun and just moves it over everywhere that I'm going, which is impossible in and of itself. All right, you're maintaining central presence. That's necessarily movement in order to maintain that central presence relative to me. The entity is then keeping it for the duration of the day. All I have to do is sit still all day long, and you'll see that fake sun remain over me all day long. And that's exactly what I documented. It's not the sun. But even as you see me move and going from city to city, that is not the sun. All right, you're looking at the object moving. That, when I first started documenting that was so creepy. You're witnessing Satan in action. And let me be clear, Satan is the creepiest. And so are these demons who I'm documenting. All right, as I'm telling their secrets, and they can get as hostile as they want, they're going to find themselves in a cage where they belong. It is currently 6:09 p.m. Here comes a minion. License 7JXN320. All right, that third party crossing path, and I take a picture of them stalking. They represent the people, and you see the fake sun that's over the same Wells Fargo that I captured it over my head this morning. And when the time that I captured it, I'm reminding you of when I'm at this Wells Fargo at 7, 8, 9 o'clock in the morning. The state's fake sun is over that same Wells Fargo, and that's what I took a picture of. That's a demon. And they are all present in relevant positions, stalking together. And that's the reality of a demented population. And they are rightfully and appropriately defined as exactly what they are. They are the demon possessed, and they are criminals. You are engaged in interstate stalking. That's a federal crime. They're criminals. All right. So like I said, it's 6:10 p.m. This is P.O.C. That's criminal summoning, American medical response. And the minions that are the people of the state are patrolling back and forth. I'm sitting in front of the Oval Family Community Library, and the entity is obstructing the ability to upload. This is the interstate stalking conduct, obstructing the ability to upload onto my Google Drive, and this is repeatedly interrupting with the internet connection. It keeps pushing me offline, and slowing down the operation. And the minions are patrolling back and forth, monitoring with the entity that's creating that amplified audible activity through the tactic of the method of what are sirens. All right, that is facilitation, and this is interstate stalking at 6:38 p.m. That is amplification of plane activity. There are no planes taking off over the Ontario Town Square. The entity is hovering over the Ontario Town Square. That is crossing path and relevant position in an airplane, and then creating what is amplified audible activity. All right, but I want to be clear, the entity engages in hovering via aircraft everywhere that I'm at. This Ontario Town Square is but another venue where that ongoing stalking by airplane is underway, and it is audible activity creation while the people of the state are monitoring. The entity engages in what is hovering, and then literally the identical sound of what is a plane that's supposedly taking off. It's not taking off. And this is a distance from the Ontario airport where the entity engages in the same conduct of hovering and creating the audible activity as though it's taking off from wherever it is over me. All right, it is P.O.C. It's 6:51 p.m. And they're monitoring, obstructing the ability to upload it into my Google Drive. And this is seconds later, creating ongoing patrolling via airplanes. This is not an ongoing series of planes taking off over the Ontario Town Square. This is common sense. This is where the state is stalking by helicopter. This is where the state is stalking by keeping a light source over the property all day long. It's P.O.C. And it's 6:52 p.m., by the way. $6:54 p.m. Same exact audible activity. No planes are taking off from the Ontario Town Square. As quickly as you see them fly over, that is the tape of a sound of a plane taking off. But that is the identical pattern everywhere that I am at, including the Ontario Village, including 630 North Fern. Alrighty, this is the entity stalking via airline over the property and creating what is the sound. Remember, this is demonic activity. The presence of a plane in the sky, and you are not questioning the environment. You think, oh, well, that's a plane, it's taken. No, actually, it's the sound of what is a plane, and you are naturally matching it in your mind with what is a plane that you see. The entity is maintaining presence and creating an ongoing soundtrack. And again, that form is supposed to be based on that explanation of what you are hearing, which is amplification of what is a hovering plane, group stalking in the sky space. And doing so with simultaneity to what I'm doing on my phone on the internet, while the entity is monitoring and obstructing the ability to publish, which is a federal crime. This is interstate stalking. It's relevant to what is obstruction of justice stuff. All right, and that's the policy that I'm advocating while this entity is monitoring documentation and serving what it's adding on to what is time in federal prison, both for the people of the state and government actors. It's 6:56 p.m. This is criminal summoning, 6:58 p.m. It's continuous activity creation. This is state surveillance. Sirens and plane activity, 6:58 p.m. That's amplification. That is criminal summoning. Documented thousands of times, and you're going to be prosecuted for that. I want to be clear, it's 6:59 p.m. The entity amplifying plane activity as though planes are taking off over the Ovid Family Community Library. This is not the case. The entity does the same thing again like I did documented over the B&G Plaza, hovering there, acting like it's taking off. It's not taking off. It's hovering at the property where I'm at and then flying across in relevant position, and a tape of a sound of a plane taking off. When you're not using your common sense and you're not paying attention to what is a pattern, the entity is engaging in this conduct, and it is also unpersuasive. As quickly as they engage in quote-unquote taking off is how quickly you would take off from the airport. You would not be hovering over the property where I am, which is a pattern, while you are playing nothing other than a tape of a sound. Remember, this is demonic activity. It's the same thing with the amplification of an elevator inside of the bathroom. Okay, amplifying sirens while you are engaging. That's the criminal act of summoning. Those are demons using using that as audible activity while they are engaging in surveillance with the people of the state. Okay, it's 7 p.m. That's an additional federal crime. That's criminal summoning, P.O.C. Oh, and by the way, it's not just 630 North Fern and third party Tracy Banks' vehicle. It was my vehicle as well with the entity. This is where I was documenting the government that was hovering over my vehicle and maintaining static presence. Had nothing to do with an airport, had nothing to do with commercial flights, stalking in commercial airline planes, and helicopter, where the state was keeping a fake sun. That is documentation that is not in conformity with anything that would ever have anything to do with any time of year or time of day. The entity was maintaining a fake sun all day long. There is no fitting in that presence of that light source at that address while it's maintaining its fake sun on a day-to-day basis, year-to-year basis, where I am no longer at Vine and G Street, by the way. The entity was vibrating my car and flying over with commercial airline planes and helicopters. This is the pattern of conduct, stalking with commercial airline planes. Playing a tape of the sound of a plane that is not taking off, hovering to fly over where I am, a demon that is flying an airplane, literally. And that is the amplified audible activity is witnessing, again, the demon possession. The very conduct in the elements is the evidence of the demon possession. All right. It is 7:01 p.m. All right, P.O.C. on Vesta, the people of the state, and this is the property, the third-party facilitating venue at the corner of Vine and Vesta. You have a minion engaging in the same conduct that I documented Metro 102 for, not criminal summoning, but terrorism while creating light activity, which is massive facilitation, 5TKK 106, 6UYA 131. And the minion is 7RAV 814. License plate 6UNH 202. Facilitating the rest of these who are on Vesta, for example. This is the street that I'm walking on. 3VMU 026, 8TEF 568, 5EGG 884. This is what they were doing inside of the parking garage. Stopped by the soda machine, maintaining presence, using a turn signal in the parking garage. That's a demon stalking in the path, creating light activity. That's a terrorizing threat. It is an act of terrorism while it is facilitating the government's monitoring abilities. 8DUH 542. It's massive facilitation, which is an ongoing threat to your life, while an entity is stalking and monitoring with communication devices. 7TLY 248. 8G 22603. 8CWC 990, 4PWC 516, and that minion touching with directed light while they cross path. Their headlights are not fanning in between vehicles diagonally across the sidewalk in order to touch. That's a demon, not only facilitating the P.O.C., engaging in the conduct of the perpetual sex offender, touching me with directed light while they cross path. It is currently 7:17 p.m. 8 PNP 517. 7BFU 023, in case I didn't read that one. This is the paper plate, AU32Y83, 8FBK287, 7CKJ162, 7VOH213, 5GGA947. Ontario Plaza Apartments, they're monitoring. That's what the purpose of facilitation is. License plate 8HKA739. Minions walking on both sides of the sidewalk, going into third-party facilitating venue Ontario Plaza Apartments, which is crossing path for XRR690, and using where you live or a third-party facilitating venue, whether they live there or not, for purposes of that criminal conduct. 7LDH065, 6SOC 080, 7BIR 135, 8VBH 173. 8Z82086, 7JTB724, 8RDE 618, 30840E2, 8TBP681, 5CDA 467, 7RHY672, and that is Omnitrans crossing path 61 westbound at 7:18 p.m. 8667731. 6HMX976, 8UFU311, 8TPD082, 8YHG120, 4GGR618, 8XNR611, 8CQE763, 7DSU806, 7SWV715, 7ZEZ317, 7EIU727, 8FGF144, license 7BTC390, CHILE07, WWW0000, molesting, AB273, handicap. Excuse me. Hi, what's your name, sir? Alex? Okay, thanks, Alex. Alex is engaging in what is terrorism inside of the store, surrounding with noise, which is activity creation, where I'm standing inside of the store. I'm on surveillance, in the store, I mean Stater Brothers. So while I'm standing at the entrance hallway, going into what is their little glass container, which is a means of maintaining audible activity around you. This is terrorism while demons engage in making noise all around you all the time, and the rest of them are monitoring together. It's 7:22 p.m. at Stater Brothers. The people following into the restroom at Stater Brothers and capturing that as soon as I walk in. It is 7:23 p.m. Alrighty, the people stalking in the bathroom, capturing relevant positioning. This is a demon that is stalking with activity creation and chasing into a bathroom in order to maintain relevant positioning on behalf of the government. And this is a demon-possessed person doing that. This is action on behalf of the people of the state altogether. It is 7:27 p.m. This is third-party facilitating venues, Stater Brothers. This is a minion that's just waiting. They're stalking and everything they're doing is focused on me, so they're just stalling. They know that they're being documented. And the people of the state inside of the grocery store and all around the grocery store, outside and by helicopter, airplanes, law enforcement, fire department, an entire entity is monitoring with this demon who goes into the bathroom to stalk an American citizen who's documenting and prosecuting the entirety of that entity for this minion's affirmative actions, which are predatory and sexually motivated. It is 7:28 p.m. These are the demons molesting with directed light and then following into bathrooms. That's P.O.C. Alright, stalking in the path with light in order to touch 8SMH951. Also stalking in the bathroom at Stater Brothers. 6VHP717, that's the perpetual sex offender. Touching, stalking in private spaces. 4XYR780. 8MHV812. And these minions are surrounding and as they're group stalking inside of the grocery store, and I'm just taking pictures and you can see what are demons that are surrounding. While I'm in a grocery store, as I'm looking there making a decision, more and more demons just start pacing around me inside of the grocery store. These are the demon possessed. This is molesting CB75Z18, that's a paper plate. And this minion following from the grocery store to what is the Little Caesars portion of the same plaza, the Ontario Village. Using this minionite child as activity creation, 8VUE646. This one molesting 8KHA609. GTUPONY. And I read that one already. 8DSW802. And it's 8:01 p.m. That's a minion using their vehicle as a means of stalking with activity. I pressed the button on my phone. All right, license 8HDH349, and this minion who I just took a close-up image of, you can see this is a minion monitoring with the other minion that's in the middle of the street using their hazards, and this minion is aiming light onto the wall. That's her conduct. She's partially aimed inside the parking spot. She's engaging in what is positioning in order to touch a surface across the street with light. 8YZY583. This is surrounding with light, and this is the conduct of the predator. Okay, I took a picture of her, and let me show you her vehicle. Monitoring is 7B215. 7B21506, and this is directed light. It's not headlights. And let me get these minions over here in the middle of the street. That is Ontario Plaza Apartments. Documenting that, I already have them documented. I will include their monitoring together. They're engaging in sexual violence. That is the conduct of a sex offender. And let me be clear, that's a demon. That's not headlights that are concentrating against the property across the street. That's directed light, okay? My shadow is enlarged. I'm going to prosecute that sex offender. This is the same sex offender stalking in the bathroom at Stater Brothers, okay? It's a demon-possessed entity. Again, that's third party. That's a sex offender, a very violent and a demented one, 8KHA609, and I got a close-up of that demon-possessed stalker. Engaging in what is using the property. Let me be clear, the minions that live at that property, I will document them as well. They are monitoring, okay? Directed light aimed across their property is facilitation as well. And this is surrounding license 4XNR151, 7NJG960. And this is at the property of what is 204 Bonita. They're monitoring. 8DLB403. And this is in Ontario, California. License, I'm sorry, not license, but the address, I cannot see the address. Let's see. That is the conduct that I captured. That is classic demonic conduct. This demon is engaging in stalking as I'm walking through the parking lot, and she is just engaging in sitting in the parking spot for a second as I continue to walk. And her purpose is to aim, understand it's not headlights. This is a demon who is hiding behind the sitting in her vehicle, but you're not hiding at all. This is the demon that is engaging in what is aiming directed light onto the property of what is 114 Bonita in Ontario, and the one adjacent to it, the address that I read, while I am supposed to walk through that. And then you've got the demon that is right in relevant position to what are documented. The Ontario Plaza Apartments engaged in the pattern of conduct as I documented their license plates. I'm documenting the name of that entire apartment complex in relevant position, engaging in sexual violence while they're stalking with the government. Okay, license plate 8MHV812. The same. That is textbook demonic, okay, and sexually violent. The intent is to touch, and doing so by following you around. And also engaging in what is the conduct of a demon that intends to engage in this demonic activity where you are ignorant of that and not paying attention to what is the engineered light that they are actually following you around and intending to touch. That's conduct of a predator. All right, following you step by step. And again, it's not a mystery anymore. It's not secret. So they're monitoring documentation. They are doing this to one who is aware that they are doing it. That's a very violent sex offender who insists on touching and following you around and following into bathrooms in order to continue following you around while they're monitoring. Okay, so I want to be clear. It's 8:05 p.m. And that is why I also get close-ups of the demon possessed. Documenting one of them is documenting all of them. The government's not doing it through that minion by themselves. It's doing it through every single last one of them. Documenting one is documenting the people of the state who are going to be prosecuted as the people of the state. It is a title speaking to the people of the state of California, which shall be subject to what is a criminal prosecution. And now understanding the government is engaging in what is criminal surveillance, and it's doing it through the people. And this is breaking groundwork, it is, but the criminal conduct is what is dictating the necessity of that policy and what is necessary as a matter of justice. You're not going to avoid justice because the government is engaged in criminal conduct in a method and in a manner that is not only entirely malicious, but it is unfathomable. But this is what it is doing, and as a matter of what is criminal conduct with which the entity is engaging with the people of the state, you are going to be subject to that criminal prosecution, and the target individual doesn't have to know your name. And it is not a violation of your constitutional rights because you represent the government who is doing it through you. All right. And so this is the third party facilitating venue 112 Bonita Avenue in Ontario, California. License Heart 101 MEE. This is a demon. License plate 7ELP 314. And 108 Bonita. in Ontario, California, which is adjacent to what is La Crosse or LA Cross, Smog and Tune, at the intersection of Holt and Bonita. Okay, and I've also documented this venue before. The state keeping a fake sun. I've literally documented it all day long over the Ontario Village Shopping Center, keeping it directly over my head wherever it is that I'm standing. But I've documented it keeping over me at the Coin Laundry from morning until dusk. That is the quote-unquote setting of the fake sun. We've documented it. The keeping the fake sun over me for the duration of the day while I'm sitting in front of the Panda Walk, which is inside of the Ontario Village. All right, documented this, 7YGV 905. And then the state is engaging in keeping the fake sun over the Ontario Town Square, where during the course of that conduct, it is never moving westward to be anywhere over the Ontario Village, except for when I went in the morning, and then it remained directly over me as I went back east of that property, and it remains over me at that property and where I'm walking, never moving west whatsoever, which is also the case when it's remaining on Euclid Avenue, going north and remaining visible to me in alignment with me while I'm inside of the Upland Public Library. Okay, this is P.O.C. And as I show you close-up images of what are the people of the state, I am showing you what is the face of the entity that is going to be prosecuted by virtue of the conduct of that single person. Let me be clear. The government's not doing it through that one person. It's doing it through all of them. All right, engagement in that pattern of conduct is the evidence of what is the pattern of conduct by the entirety of that people. All right, a license plate, 7RUS 410. And that's how you have what is the supernatural and included in this pattern of conduct: directed light, amplification of activity, stalking by the state by planes and helicopters. This is indeed state surveillance that is facilitated by the people. 27990U1. And the third party, again, using a large truck, using hazard lights. This is a demon. This is demonic. That's an act of terrorism. Ontario Plaza, representing the people of the state, are monitoring, engaging in what is that act of terrorism as I documented it. License 7BDT 301. That is P.O.C. 8UFE 311. I think I read those already. You are remaining in the comfort of your home, which is the third party facilitating venue. The P.O.C. is underway, and you are that easily documented as well. Catching that every single last ounce of that federal case against the government and the people of the state who are in the shoes of the government. And I don't have to run across you personally. I don't have to know your apartment number. It's facilitation, it's relevant positioning, it is systematic monitoring with communication devices, while demons, such as the third party who I gave you a close-up of, engage in that sort of conduct, which is entirely demented. And it's going to take on what is a legal context, the conduct of a sex offender. 8VBH 173. I read their license plate already. They're hopping into their vehicle in order to engage in what is relevant positioning. Coming from third party facilitating venue, Ontario Plaza. That's an apartment complex. Touching with light, 8E71938. License 7LDH065. The demon possessed are a bunch of thirsty animals. Okay, and that's exactly the conduct that they demonstrate. So you have the ongoing conduct again, another demon engaging in the same conduct, stalking in the path with hazard lights. The property address right here is 552 Vesta. This is license 8KQL948. This is what the large truck was doing. This is what the minion on Vesta as I was walking here was doing. It's maintaining light around the perimeter. License 8NMH890. It's an unlawful threat. 5YVW085, I believe. These minions are patrolling, monitoring with the minion that's sitting in the middle of the road with hazard lights on. This is a molestation, 7SFW417. That is directed light. Alrighty, license 8DDA338, molesting. License 8LUY949, molesting. And again, this property is 552. I took a picture of that. You can see it. And there's directed light on the vehicle. You can see from the rear view mirror on the driver's side, you see light that is on the car. There's no sun or street lamp that's creating that. This is the ongoing touching of engineered light on that mirror, where this minion is intentionally engaging in what is light activity creation. The people continue to engage in what are to be established as the very serious federal charges of what is facilitation. What no other person will want any parts of is what the people of the state are blatantly and repeatedly engaging in now. It is what is speaking to the creation of that federal legislation. This is the government that's surrounding with these methods of light activity. The same thing the police and American Medical Response and the fire departments do with their emergency vehicles, by the way. Okay, so I want to be clear on that. It's 8:13 p.m. That's also criminal activity that is attributed to the people of the state together. Okay, so you were talking about what is engaging in countless acts of facilitation. This is why the sex offender is not an ordinary one, not only because it's the government, but it is a perpetual sex offense. And you are violating the person ceaselessly and in more than one manner, in addition to the privacy as an entire entity on behalf of a government is engaging in surveillance at every place, including into the private space, which I document the people of the state engaging in. It's currently 8:13 p.m. License plate 8XDJ082 7BYZ 314. And again, the address, if I recollect correctly, this is 507 Vesta. This is a marker with regard to where I'm located and the ongoing P.O.C. And the state placing a fake sun over that property as I walk on that street. Not just over that property, it's remaining over me as I walk in that direction, walking down Vesta. Most of the time I'm coming from what is Stater Brothers, 23116T1 inside of the village. And I have captured the state keeping the fake sun, and that's why I've documented it. This is speaking to what I've previously documented. This is the P.O.C., the state keeping the fake sun over me. Alaska Airlines flying over me under the fake sun that is on this street as it's over my head, as I've documented. The same with the multiple commercial airlines under the fake sun. You're seeing that same scene, okay, the same backdrop, where the entity is engaging in stalking via plane and helicopter also. 8EHW324. And it is indeed 507 Vesta, yeah. Alrighty, Vesta is the street where the minions are maintaining, again, en route here. You have a minion creating light activity. This is stalking in the path with light. It's facilitation. You're subject to surveillance. And walking back from the venue, stalking in the middle of the same street, creating light activity. While I'm coming from the plaza, the village, stalking in the middle of the street with flashing lights. This is light activity. The entity doing this on an ongoing basis while they being the people, are engaged in ongoing surveillance. Another way, you do not need to know. You're talking about who do you know is stalking? The government is stalking. 7TKW690. Monitoring together with the minion who's creating flashing light in the street. 8WHR353. And this minion 8BBZ449. This minion directed light on the ground at nightfall. 8C56046. The impossible light. These are demons. 7TKW690. In case I didn't read that one already. And outside of the property, which looks like 223, this would be Vine, 223 Vine Avenue. Yeah, engaging in the pattern of conduct, coming out using their vehicles. Starting them is a method of activity, audible activity, and light activity. And monitoring with the minions who are, let me be clear, while they remain in their house, they're monitoring. Coming out is engaging in more affirmative conduct. You're crossing path. You are communicating a threat. The entity is engaging in what is surveillance. You're not present on your own behalf. You're not moving around freely on your property. You're engaging in federal stalking. All right, so like I said, it is 8NND987. That's a license plate. License 8Z RB717 6SNB096. P.O.C. This is Vine and Vesta. And I think I read this already earlier today, 6SKC205. It's currently 8:17 p.m. XNB365. This is third parties on C Street. 6JIM. 672. No. 8 UKR 188. 6MCM 340. Or is that a? Yeah, 340. 86224Z2. 6ZIM 905. 3889136. That's paper. 5FHJ 687. 8GZR 771. 8ZGX 549. Directed light moving across the license plates as I fix my vision on them. That's demonic. It's impossible light activity. The people are engaged in everything the entity is engaging in is speaking to the ongoing prosecution of the people of the state. They are not separate. They're not anyway. There's no exception. They are monitoring. 6UZF062. And they're demons who are monitoring with communication devices. See, 8TJF031, as I read earlier. 8XMD126, 7YG2, I read these earlier. Directed light moving across the venue of 229. This is 229, Fern, no. 229, this is C Street and Fern, I believe. Yeah, 229 Fern. Let me see. While these minions are patrolling, directed light moving across the property. I'm going to document the property. 8XZR471 is a demon that's crossing path. And the street where they're going to get this address correct. Yeah, I'm right. It's Fern Street. 229 Fern. This is a property where I'm walking by and a demon is crossing path. Your headlights are not fanning horizontally across properties. Your headlights are not substantial, creating what is a large size of shadows. You're talking about what are demons who are stalking in the path with light. And that directed light is separate and distinct from the directed light that they are stalking in the path with. It's a demonstration of demon possession. And this is 229 Fern Street. It's at the intersection of C Street and Fern, nonetheless. 8YDW038. 227 Fern Street. You sure can't, not while you're monitoring. This is a minion outside in operation of the communication device while directed light's moving across the property. 225 and 223 Fern Street. You can't help me with something while you follow me down the street. Is this Fern? Is this Fern? Yeah. Okay. Why are you walking behind me? You gonna do something? I can use my phone just like you are. Mind your business. No, I am minding my business. That's why I'm documenting you, psychopath. 14325W1. 6TPU620. He steps outside. He's in operation of his communication device while directed lights move across the property. 7B92352. 6ARE353. Um, 8UOF261. 8CHZ967. 7EGY055. And let's see, 92779E3. 7LYH755. Directed light moving across the property of what is, let's see. This demon, 8WKA685, crossing path with directed light that's moving across their little mailbox. That's not headlights, that's directed light. Doing it where I am walking, focusing on where that location is, and I'm looking for an address here. Let's see. I'm at the intersection of what would be C Street and, I don't see an address. C Street and a non-church. It says Rock of Faith. That's not the actual church. That's the same one I showed you. The fake sun was over that venue. It's just a venue that calls itself a church. Oh, this is B Street. I'm sorry. I'm at Fern and B Street. B as in boy. because I've advanced walking up the street. So going from C Street to what is B Street. And at the intersection of B Street and Fern, the 400 block of B Street, 200 block of Fern. And I'm looking for an address so I can identify these minions. And I don't see one. Okay. Alrighty, they are nonetheless at the intersection of B Street and Fern. This is across the street from the venue, the facilitating venue of Rock of Faith. License plate BN06L21, and I'm laughing because it's just hilarious what Satan refers to itself as, 5AGV677. It's currently 8:24 p.m. And again, that was Ontario Plaza Apartments. Surrounding the perimeter with light activity as I'm walking toward, that's on Vesta, and then that is on Bonita. That is a massive facilitation by the people of the state engaging in identical conduct, which is also not coincidentally facilitating the state's stalking conduct, monitoring with communication devices. It is not a coincidence. It is the pattern. It is the people of the state engaging in conduct, which is facilitation, and you do not have any legal argument with regard to facilitating in any way the government's system of surveillance. That's in other words saying, oh, I'm threatening the life of an American citizen while facilitating the government's criminal placement of surveillance on this American citizen, but I didn't know that I was doing it, or I was accidentally, I didn't know my hazards. It is legally irrelevant. And that's not even plausible. I'm showing you what is even more beyond that. This is entirely demonic. This is malicious. And now they're doing it in plain sight, where their whole system has been broken down. So you're talking about what is federal prison, 8 HKC 695. And that's necessary because you're understanding what's going to be the creation of policy, how you necessarily address the government placing American citizens under surveillance and threatening their lives and their liberty. 5LJK 885. ZRA 938. 56059R2. It's 8:25 p.m. 8MFJ 899. DYR170 72716F3. That's audible activity and engineered light. It is serving monitoring. It is currently 8:26 p.m. PBT 477. BM47U19, that's paper plate. 8WED 859. 7JBR 154. In front of 301 and 309 C Street. Approaching the intersection of what I believe is Palm. Yeah. C Street and Palm. HJY 456. Stalking in the path via the traffic lights, which the state uses to maintain relevant positioning by this third party. This is third party in state conduct as you are using the traffic lights. The moment that I start walking, approaching the vehicle, or literally start reading the license plate as I'm close enough, then the light turns green. This is crossing path though. I'm just speaking to what is the system that's underway. The traffic lights are a means of what is stalking. Maintaining relevant positioning, HAGC 437, 8HXA 997. and it's 8:31 p.m. All right, stalking with light. This is third party, license plate 8AUD810 at the Ontario Town Square. Sitting on the side of the sidewalk, which would be on surveillance cameras as well, aiming their lights, just sitting there with their vehicle lights on. That's what they're doing. And that is maintaining light in the path. It's the same thing when you're sitting at a traffic light, okay? They're doing the exact same thing. All right, you are understanding what is maintenance of presence. The same thing when they're sitting on the side with their hazard lights on, creating light activity. All right, so I just want to be clear. This is how the demons are stalking in the path with light. It is currently 8:32 p.m. 7HJY456 returns to go to Wells Fargo after stalking at the red light, which it's 8:32 p.m. The third party that I referenced, their license plate, as group stalking at the red light, and then returns, as I stated, they're using their hazards while they are parked at Wells Fargo. I did capture an image of what is a group stalker that is crossing path at the Ontario Town Square. It's 8:34 p.m. That third party's license plate that is engaging in terrorism while parked at Wells Fargo using their hazard lights, their license plate is the last one that I recited. This is criminal summoning, 8:48. It's American Medical Response. Crossing path at Euclid Avenue. I'm at the Ontario Town Square, and that's all the entity does all day long. Criminal summoning is going to be the grounds of prosecuting the government as it acts directly. And this demonic system of state surveillance is facilitated whereby the demon-possessed engage in the elements of monitoring using their emergency vehicles. And this is speaking to what is that hallmark of the use of sirens, as I documented early in my documentation in 2019 and 2018. It is a means of what is massive monitoring. It is facilitation, and you literally have what are the demon-possessed population who are stalking in such emergency vehicles, meaning they're not engaging in anything other than ongoing surveillance, and they are following from place to place, engaging in group stalking in an ambulance vehicle, in directed light, and under the fake sun during the day, and engaging in what is using those vehicles as a means of what is the method of audible activity, which is amplified, and it is concentrated, centered on where I'm at and what I'm doing. It's 8:49 p.m. This is P.O.C. at the Ontario Town Square. Alrighty, as I documented moments earlier, I cited the time, so let me cite the time right now. It's 9:15 p.m. And I just captured video of the state stalking via sirens. I want to be clear, since I made that note, the entity engaging in the ongoing incessant use of sirens. All right, so I'm documenting this. I went on ahead and captured video, and the entity is using the sirens for in excess of 10 minutes since I made the note. The entity is engaging in surveillance and listening to me document. And so as a method of what is harassment, the entity engages in what is repeatedly using sirens incessantly, just engaging in ongoing sound of sirens around the Ontario Town Square, its amplification, and then at the same time flies over by helicopter, which I capture on video. I want to include on my podcast because I want you to know the video documentation supplements this podcast, and you're witnessing what is the harassment by an entity. Using the emergency vehicles is what is criminal summoning. And it is also what is relevant to what is terrorism, while this demon-possessed entity, that is the government and the people of the state, are also engaging in the conduct while I document it. So in other words, as I document the criminal activity of Ontario police, that idiot drove by and under the fake sun in directed light in the Ontario police vehicle. That's what I documented as I point out the P.O.C. And as I specifically noted, stalking by helicopter, doing it more, is not in any way helpful to what is being prosecuted and documented as stalking in helicopter. I noted that. And pay attention, the entity flew over in excess of 4 times as I documented that. That's not a coincidence. Yes, it is the entity that's always stalking by helicopter, but they engage in the conduct as they listen to me document. That's relevant to what is terrorism and the time in federal prison. Okay? The creation of legislation. The entity engaging in what, since I noted specifically the hallmark of sirens, the entity, true to form, engages in what is for in excess of 10 to 12 minutes And that's just an estimation because I wasn't looking at the clock. But the entity engages, I captured video at 9:15. And so the entity engages in, since I ended that last little snippet of audible activity, and it's 9:17 now, I captured video, and this is confirmation of what the entity was doing the whole time. As I capture video, then you have the emergency vehicle crossing path, siren stop. Before I capture the video, the entity engaging in incessant use of sirens is ongoing and ongoing. The state then adds helicopter. That's when I start shooting video. And that's 9:15 p.m. The entity is continuously flying over by helicopter. And I want to be clear, that's the conduct of the demon possessed. You're dealing with Satan. Right, and this is the animal that I'm speaking to. This is the animal that are the people of the state, the same demon possession. And that's a demon that's flying that helicopter you see in the video. It's flying in a circle. It is flying in relevant position. It is doing so while I am being molested with directed light. And that is the more than one shadow, multiple shadows. This is the same property where the state kept the fake sun all day. Okay, so anyway, this is 9:18 p.m. right now, and I just want to not only document that, this is what I captured on video, which I will be uploading as soon as possible, but not only that, I'm giving analytical notes. This is the conduct of the demon possessed. All right, this is how Satan, in other words, conducts itself. All right, and this is speaking to what is the necessity of penalties and the necessity of that legislation when you are dealing with what are the lawless animals that are the demon possessed in positions of government, stalking in ambulances, police vehicles, and fire trucks. Okay, this is P.O.C. It's 9:18 p.m. The entity continuously flying over the Ovid Family Community Library by helicopter right now. It's 9:18 p.m. This is P.O.C. Okay, just as a note, reviewing my episodes that my audio clips as I'm documenting, that was 8:49 p.m. as the time that I cited, and then I captured the video, and that was at approximately 9:15 p.m. So from that time, 8:49 p.m. up until I captured the video, the entity engaging in incessant use of sirens. And again, that is the pattern of conduct by what is the entity that's engaging in surveillance. But I want to be clear, this is a demon-possessed entity that's engaging in surveillance. And so I want to be clear, you're understanding what is the pattern of conduct with regard to the elements of monitoring, and what is an intent to harass while they're engaging in monitoring, an intent to not only harass but terrorize while you are monitoring the documentation. And again, that was the video that I captured where the state then adds in helicopter with an intent to terrorize and harass. The entity engaging in, it's currently 9:49 p.m., so I just wanted to add on those timestamps upon reviewing my documentation. And so you have that's a prolonged period of time, and this is what the entity is engaging in this on an ongoing basis. You're understanding what is terrorism, while psychopaths are stalking with noise, and a hallmark with regard to the ongoing maintenance and creation of audible activity, and which is also facilitation, is the use of sirens, while the state is engaging in the pattern of conduct acting directly. The state is the one that uses vehicles sounding sirens, all right? So like I said, that's 8:49 to 9:15. That's literally what the entity did. And I captured that on video, the tail end of that, while the state then starts flying in circles in relevant position. I want to also speak to approximately 10 minutes ago. It's 9:49 p.m., approximately 9:35. Approximately 9:36, 37 p.m. The entity crosses path again, flying over the Ontario Town Square, flying over me at the Ontario Town Square. So I want to document that as well. It is currently 9:50 p.m. This is P.O.C. and I remain on surveillance cameras at the Ontario Town Square. Stalking in relevant position, Metro 102 with hazard lights and these minions maintaining presence. Let me be clear, this while the state's flying over repeatedly by helicopter, stalking with the use of audible activity of the train, helicopter, and sirens. These are third party 8RBH033, monitoring with the minion that's in relevant position at Metro 102 using their hazard lights. This is the demonic pattern of conduct. It is currently 9:53 p.m. 7UUN561, 7ESC971, 8PDC329, and those are just vehicles that are parked at the property. I just want to be clear, I might have read them already earlier. I'm just documenting everyone in relevant position, while Metro 102 is the venue where a third party, a demon that is engaging in the pattern of stalking in the path with the method of light activity creation. This minion is who you hear starting their ignition is engaged in surveillance, maintaining presence while the entity is engaged in what I was documenting as I remain at the Ontario Town Square. And they're monitoring with the minion that's creating light activity as well. It is 9:53 p.m. Alrighty, another minion crossing path is license 5VFT770. 30386F3. 6WYR397. These are license plates at third-party facilitating video Metro 102 where this demon is parked in the red, or they were using their hazard lights. And that license plate that I just read of the one that was crossing path, they go into the parking lot across the street from Metro 102 and substantial directed light across the wall. That's a demon, and that is facilitation. 6ZLM984. EJJS2, that's Nevada. Yeah. 8RIA 909. 8VRP 650. It's 9:55 p.m. All right, entering Metro 102, license 6NX2805. 9:55 p.m. Monitoring with the demon that enters the parking lot and directed light swipes across the wall in that parking lot. They're monitoring together and going to Metro 102 as a means of crossing path. 7VPV 745, and this is license 5YUR443. License ROB3KKD. License 7XRE088. And what you'll pay attention to is the fakes, not the fake sign, the entities flying over Holt Boulevard where I am located, not over Ontario Town Square anymore, okay? That is the stalking by the state and planes and helicopter, flying where I am located. And hovering, by the way. That is not any takeoff, that's hovering. You are hovering until you get to my location. And that is also playing nothing other than a tape of a sound of a, like the plane is taking off. The entity is stalking in airplanes, creeping above in the sky space in an airplane, and then the ongoing creation of audible activity while they do so. All right, you're also looking at the stalking while they're concentrating that presence where I am located. That's why they're doing it at the Ontario Town Square all day long, not doing it over the museum, like they are when I am there, okay? And like they are at the B&G Plaza when I am there, acting like they're taking off from there, like they are when I'm, for example, when I was documenting in my vehicle, like they're taking off from there when I'm living in my vehicle at Vine and G Street, or like they are when I'm on Fern and G Street, like they're taking off over that street, okay? It is the pattern of conduct where I am at the county building, which is closer to the Ontario airport, and the entity is engaging as though it's taking off right there in alignment with the county building, but yet it's hovering what is at the this end of Holt Boulevard where I am at. So like I said, this is stalking, and the Ontario airport is no form for the ongoing stalking via airplanes. The Ontario airport itself is a state facilitating venue where I have documented the state keeping a fake sun over me at the Ontario airport, directed light on the vehicles of the Omnitrans bus while I'm at the Ontario airport, the ongoing indication, direct evidence of surveillance that is underway, and demon possession. The ongoing facilitation of what is the people of the state who are demons at that airport, which is the venue. There is no form either way, but I just want to speak to what is already established as nothing other than stalking by plane and helicopter. It is currently 9:58 p.m. This is P.O.C. This is the entity flying at the museum over me while molesting. This is Ontario Police. Alrighty, I did pause in order to capture video of the demon possession of the Ontario Police, because that's exactly what they're demonstrating while they are stalking in directed light and stalking with the demon that is flying over me by helicopter at another venue, which is the Ontario Museum of History and Arts, going up to engage in what is surveillance into communication of a threat while they are literally engaging in the P.O.C. and going to their posts where they engage in surveillance on a daily and nightly basis anyway. They just did it on video camera as I caught them, and that is catching. So you're talking about what is the conduct of the demon possessed as they're caught. They continue to engage in more of it, which is engaging in what is blatant criminal conduct, serving for what is your term in federal prison. Okay, so I am being molested with directed light. The entity is stalking via helicopter, which I have captured in several videos today, which is an ongoing pattern captured over a term of years. And let me be clear, not only am I documenting the pattern of conduct, and this is what is a terrorizing threat by that demon-possessed stalker driving an Ontario Police vehicle, who is monitoring documentation and drives by at that specific moment in concert with the helicopter to communicate a very specific threat, which is terrorism. And what is literally an admission. By virtue of that conduct, this is an admission that you're a stalker, and you're demonstrating that you're a demon-possessed one while you are monitoring the documentation. This is what is establishing the necessity for disbanding such infected, and they're infected with demon possession, the Ontario Police. And you're also talking about what is the grounds of federal prison. This same entity that is engaging in the documentation of surveillance and terrorism is the same entity engaging in repeated acts of kidnapping while that same criminal activity was underway. All right, and so you're talking about what is the pattern of conduct that I'm documenting it. You're understanding what is the necessity of that legislation. You're also understanding what is the grounds of federal prison for state actors such as Lisa Rogan, who participated in and facilitated a fictitious prosecution while I'm subject to state surveillance and terrorism by she and not only by herself, not only her, but you're talking about the people of the state who engaged in kidnapping in a court of law, while you're engaging in what is state surveillance, which this entity placing me under surveillance knew that I was documenting. That's why she's going to federal prison. What I just documented right now is why she is going to federal prison. Okay, the Ontario Police Department officers engaging in what is ongoing surveillance, like I just documented right now, while they're engaged in that surveillance, engaging in more than one act of kidnapping, while they're engaged in that criminal conduct. What I just documented right now is why they are going to federal prison. Why you disband such infected and diseased, they are plagued, they are literally invalid police departments, okay? They are sick with what is demon possession, and you literally witness what is a twisted, they are twisted and literally drowning in what is darkness. You're talking about what is overwhelmed with it. And so what is the response? Nothing intelligent. You provide more documentation as to why it is absolutely necessary to put such dangerous criminals in those positions that they have no business in. And it is just a matter of time before it is revealed. And that's what I'm doing. I'm revealing it. And that is speaking to what is the necessity of what is placing the threat that they pose, removing that threat. You remove that threat by removing them from those positions, and you place them into the necessary facilities. The Ontario Police Department that engaged in more than one act of kidnapping and harassment, ongoing terrorism, they're violent sex offenders who are engaging in what is the form of what is authority under the law while they're engaged in state surveillance and terrorism, with the entity that also engaged in stalking again by helicopter directly over me in directed light. I want to be clear, that is why they are going to federal prison, as I have documented them by name and badge number. It is currently 10:05 p.m. This is the entity flying over the flying by helicopter over the Ontario Museum of History and Arts. Pay attention. Lisa Rogan's going to federal prison. All I'm going to do is play the tape because you're talking about what is an ongoing pattern of conduct, and everything that the people of the state are engaging in. This same entity was in that courtroom with her engaging in federal stalking while they perpetrated a fictitious prosecution whereby that actor, state actor Lisa Rogan, kidnapped me. This goes all the way back to the criminal conduct of the Ontario Police Department, and they continue to demonstrate the criminal system that they are very, very determined to engage in. That determination equals what is federal prison, a very, very long time, a very long time. Okay, the criminal system of the government is that which is designed to, and which it fully intends to, as you are seeing, as I'm documenting on video, and I'll be publishing this as soon as possible, what is an ongoing determination which is futile. It is to its own detriment. Okay, the criminal system is revealed. Not only that, your secret is known. You are a demon-possessed population who hold positions in the government, within this population for purposes of an ongoing facilitating system of surveillance and terrorism, which is in and of itself designed to keep that system concealed. All right, so you're talking about what is that has been blown off, the top has been blown off, and then you're understanding what is necessary with regard to dealing with that, how you're going to confront it. What's not enough to prosecute, you are going to lose your freedom in the same way that you rob American citizens of their freedom and their privacy, their dignity, their property, their reputation, whatever, any and all that the entity is stealing, while it is placing you under surveillance and then engaging in obstruction of justice. And that's what kidnapping and fictitious prosecutions and criminal defamation, criminal summoning, the waging of false allegations while you are kidnapped by this entity. This is what is all relevant and probative of. Okay, so like I said, I am capturing what is the entity stalking by Ontario Police, who choose that very second to drive down that dark street where I have multiple shadows while the state is flying over by helicopter. The entity was doing the same thing while the demons of American Medical Response were using their sirens, crossing paths while I'm being molested with directed light, which you see at Ontario Town Square, another venue where the state is not coincidentally stalking by helicopter, and that is another state actor. They're going to federal prison for that. And that's what they are demonstrating. All right. And it is, like I said, It is literally the destructive conduct of Satan itself as you are witnessing the demon possessed. No sane person, no intelligent person would provide, because it's not providing any sort of reasonable, logical, or there is no argument for what the entity is clearly being documented as: a stalker and a terrorist. So engaging in more of it is providing more documentation of what you are being identified as: a stalker and a terrorist, a kidnapper and a sex offender. And the entity does so while the American citizen documents it. That is speaking to the necessity of legislation to address and confront that predator, okay, that criminal. That is the state of California. And that is specifically capturing the Ontario Police Department and the entity that is representing the government stalking in a helicopter, following me from place to place. And this is for a term of years, as I've shown it. But you can isolate it just today. Today would be the establishing of a prima facie case for any ordinary target individual, showing what is the fake sun that's remaining over you all day. That's showing the environment. This is the demonic system. You're subject to surveillance. The directed light, as the Ontario Police Department demonstrated today, this morning at the Hope Boulevard car wash, and while the people of the state also demonstrated it, and also the stalking by the state by helicopter, by airplane, and by law enforcement, and by state personnel, the fire department, and American Medical Response. That is a prima facie case in and of itself. All right, the entity following me from place to place. And what the entity maintaining this ongoing stalking presence in a specific environment. All right, that is the P.O.C, and that is speaking to what is federal prison. And this demon, that's exactly what is the condition of the state actor flying in a helicopter is. This is a demon-possessed government actor who is in no way maintaining or hiding behind any sense of anonymity. The government shall be held accountable, and you are talking about what is a real person in the position of a government, a government actor that is relevant to the ongoing stalking via helicopter. This is terrorism, and you were talking about what is in no way remaining anonymous. You were talking about what is the ability to, and necessarily to, what is hold them accountable under federal law, and I am speaking to what is federal prison. There is nothing else that is in any way confronting or addressing in any manner that is commensurate with regard to what the entity is engaging in, what it intends to engage in, what it intends to continue to engage in, while it is literally monitoring the documentation. That is what I am honing in on when I'm speaking to, and I'm trying to be precise with the way I'm describing it. The entity is monitoring the documentation of an American citizen. So I am speaking to not only the pattern of conduct, you're understanding what is the criminal activity of the government that is stalking and monitoring while you begin documenting it. This is the grounds of impermissible threats. The impermissible threat that is communicated by the government is axiomatic: federal prison. All right, that's how that's going to work, and it is necessary as a matter of justice. And what I'm speaking to, what I'm addressing with regard to the helicopter that is flying over me, following me from place to place, the entity is in no way hiding or maintaining any sense of anonymity. And you are in every way, and this is the same with commercial actors, where you have what is none other than the commercial brand. And that commercial brand is a means whereby the entity is maintaining relevant positioning, stalking, following from place to place. You are not hiding behind any sense of anonymity. All right, you are talking about what is reaching into that company, what is reaching into what are the government itself, and holding them accountable by what is literally placing a real person in a position of responsibility and not even necessarily reasonably held accountable for what is knowledge of what the entity is doing, or what that company is doing, what the government is doing, or should reasonably know what is going on. And let me be clear, this is state surveillance, so you're literally going to make a decision about who's going to go to federal prison for it. The entity is acting as one. All right, so they can all claim ignorance. You can claim ignorance all you want. What's going to be is that how it is going to be is you will pick and choose what type of person, what position will be serving that prison term, because they will be going to prison. Okay, so you were talking about holding one accountable or many accountable. But like I said, it will not be any sense of anonymity or where we don't know and there's no way to know, and you're not going to be able to hold anyone accountable because you don't. No. We're not playing that game. So I just want to speak to that. The government, by virtue of stalking a helicopter, that's the government. That's the government doing that. Okay, so I want to be clear. The entity is in no way hiding behind any sense of anonymity, and that is directly applied to the people of the state. They threaten as one. The people of the state are to be charged again. They are not in any way separate from what they are doing on behalf of the government. The government is acting directly, flying and following and terrorizing by helicopter with the Ontario police. The people of the state are the vicarious aspect of that same exact entity, and they are waging the same threat. They're monitoring with the government while they're stalking by law enforcement and helicopter. The people of the state are monitoring with communication devices. The people of the state are stalking in the path with light, molesting with directed light, surrounding with directed light. They are wholeheartedly and engaged in full-fledged P.O.C. the entire time. And they also engage in what is the demonic conduct of engaging in what is the communication of a threat while those state actors engage in the P.O.C. with them. That's how these demons act as one, as a unit. Okay, so like I said, it's 10:13 p.m. and this is documentation, and you are understanding when I'm referencing Lisa Rogan, I'm referencing what is the pattern of conduct that remains underway. This is the same pattern of conduct that was underway while this entity engaged in repeated acts of kidnapping, including what was the perpetration of a fictitious prosecution, referencing fictitious warrants, while you are engaged in surveillance. While you're stalking by helicopters and by law enforcement, you are talking about what is the stalker then engaging in fictitious exercise of authority under the law when you're the criminal. They engaged in multiple acts of kidnapping. They're going to federal prison. And that is foolishness, as I showed. While you repeatedly engage in that conduct under the fake sun and in directed light at nightfall, under that with the helicopter, you're providing what is the ongoing justification for your being placed in federal prison for a very long time. It is the most idiotic conduct, and that's why I am making comments on it. But like I said, you can hand it all over to me. Not that I need it. I'm prosecuting. I have prosecuted. I have revealed the criminal and the stalker, the sex offender, the psychopath, the demon possession. That is the state of California and the people of the state while they sought to conceal it. All you're doing is buttering the bread. It's already done. It's already done, and you're going to federal prison. You're talking about what is establishing the necessity, and when I'm advocating, when I'm suggesting, based on what is a prolonged observation and exposure to this system, I am the most qualified to do so, okay? So I want to be clear, not only am I suggesting and I'm advocating what is federal prison based on what is the pattern and how the entity has demonstrated it at its position is toward an American citizen confronting the violation of their human and constitutional rights. You're talking about what is the entity demonstrating it itself. While you are stalking under helicopter and directed light, while you're monitoring the documentation, you are asking for federal prison. You're asking for it. Okay? And like I said, the entity is doing nothing other than, at this point, it is literally an admission. An admission to your demon possession, an admission to the fact that you are stalking, an admission to the fact that you were kidnapping while you were stalking then as well. It is cumulative documentation. It's an ongoing P.O.C. What these baboons do today is relevant to what I already documented that they did before. Remember that. They're idiots, okay? They're going to federal prison, and they continue to listen to me say that. They continue to engage in the pattern of conduct, which is the justification for what is extremely and necessarily severe federal penalties for that, okay? Federal group stalking and monitoring is no small thing. This is criminal activity by a government, all right? It is breaking news that the government is engaging in this, and that the government is engaging in it. Let me be clear. The government is threatening the lives of American citizens. This is the domestic enemy. The domestic enemy is threatening the lives of those who it is monitoring and intends to obstruct justice in doing so and continuing to do so. All right? You are talking about what is, as a matter of necessity, the most severe penalties, and that is speaking to federal prison, if not any sort of facilities that are necessary with regard to the delusional psychopaths that are the demon possessed. That is exactly what their condition is. So anyway, it's currently 10:16 p.m. and that is video that I captured. And it is directly relevant to what is federal prison, as I stated before. When they kidnapped me, I told them, I told all of them what's going to happen. You're going to federal prison. Lisa Rogan's going to federal prison. And Lisa Rogan's not the only judge going to federal prison. Let me be clear. Lisa Rogan is the one that engaged in what is criminally defaming me in a court where you're engaging in a fictitious prosecution. Oh, and that's when this entity decided it wants to go to federal prison, because when you do that, you are talking about what it's already a sure result. You're talking about you're engaging, executing what is not going to work. You are not avoiding it, and you're going to federal prison. This is serving for what is policy that would work to serve justice for any American citizen in this country. Okay, as you are understanding what the government how the government, and let me be clear, the government with regard to what is very specific condition, these are demon-possessed psychopaths engaging in criminal activity. Once upon a time doing it unbeknownst to the American citizen. Now, upon documentation, you are then engaging in what is an impermissible threat while you continue to continue to violate, stalk, monitor one who is documenting it. Federal prison. You kidnap that American citizen. Federal prison. All right. You're engaging in what is the exercise of fictitious authority. You can document that. You document the prima facie case. You got speeding tickets. All right. You got any other sort of citations. The state was keeping you under surveillance. They didn't get that based on reasonable suspicion or probable cause. They were placing you under surveillance. That is the fictitious exercise of authority under the law. That is relevant as well to that prosecution. So like I said, this is the entity engaging in what is an admission. And this is the unlawful threat, that impermissible threat. The Ontario Police Department are going to pay for that, okay? And I don't mean monetarily alone. I am not, monetary compensation is secondary to me. I'm talking about taking away the reputation and the liberty of what are criminals in positions that they have no business in. And that is necessary as a matter of justice. What is secondary is, again, for purposes of general and uniform policy, making an American citizen whole. If that is even possible, you cannot quantify what the government is engaging in when it is violating your humanity, okay, as a human being subject to this system by a demon-possessed entity, okay? So like I said, it's currently 10:19 p.m. And the demon-possessed entity that are the Ontario Police, not only are they engaging in the ongoing P.O.C, they continue to monitor, and then they continue to engage in that sort of threatening conduct that I just captured on video. Okay? Doing so, it is to their own detriment and to the detriment of the people of the state who are monitoring with those baboons. It is currently 10:19 p.m. This is P.O.C.